Probably just testing the run across the track and jump onto the bike, which side you're going to go. Sometimes we've seen riders, two riders try to go for the same gap and collide, or
we've even seen people slip over it.
We have.
Taking off from the grass there and have gone flat on their face onto the track. So
the thing is that every part of this race has to be thought through. You don't want to mess up anywhere, you don't want to lose time anywhere.
Yes, and let's hope all the competitors have rehearsed the pit stop, because very easy way of losing the race if you don't get that correct.
We're getting very, very close, so we might be quiet for a second, Rod. Let the riders focus on what they need to do and focus in on this very exciting Le Mans start.
Okay, Chris, we're away.
First bike, looks to be Ted Collins, Matt Long, Brett Simmons. So remember, Brett's unfamiliar with this bike in third place. Ted Collins has done enough laps around here now, so he's going to be the early pace setter. Mike Jones, he's back there in about 6th or 7th. It looked like he struggled to get the R1 fired up, but Ted Collins is the early pace setter up the hill for the first time. 2 hours ahead of them, Rod.
Yes, it's a long race, Chris.
See how this field settles in, and I think that's the important thing. If these opening laps, riders just need to settle down, feel the bike out.
Yes, especially with this type of start, because bike's sitting there with tyres getting cold, so they're going to take a couple of laps for the heat to get back into the tyres.
And the other thing that people need to be aware of is these bikes are running full fuel tanks. In a sprint race, they don't. They do handle differently with full tank, so it takes a bit of getting used to as well. Mike Jones making light work so far of Ryan Taylor and Jono Hughes, looking to go up the inside of Matty Long. Does that quite comfortably. But Ted Collins is the man at the moment. Pulled out a little bit gap over Brett Simmons. That's not alarming at all. Brett does need to familiarise himself with this machine, and we know Brett will do that.
It's also got to contend with the road shift, which is not what he's used to. Can't be easy to keep your head thinking about shifting the correct direction and opposite to what you're normally used to.
Mike Jones now on the back of Brett Simmons, so I'd expect a potential overtake down the straight this time as Brett still comes to terms with this bike. Got no shortage of speed, the Kawasaki, but under brakes, as you'd expect, a bit more familiar. Mike Jones up the inside of Brett, so now what can Mike Jones do about Ted Collins?
Cool. So far this weekend we've seen Mike certainly showing everybody the way.
Oh, a bit of rubbing there between, I think that's not Lockie Curtis, I think up against. Oh, I tell you what, that's tight early on. She's a long race, fellas.
Yeah, there's plenty of county at the start of the second lap.
Yeah, well, the adrenaline's on board, but as we keep saying, you've got 2 hours ahead of you when you really do need to make sure you stay out of trouble and get through.
Settle in and enjoy the ride, so they say.
So the race order at the moment, it's showing us Jason Spencer on bike one. I think it's his teammate, Ted Collins. Then we have Mike Jones, Brett Simmons. I think that's Mitch Hawksley in fourth, is it? No, we've got Matty Long.
No, it's Matthew Long in fourth.
Oh, look at these riders coming through. Good. Yeah. Chip Sellers, Jono Hughes.
Justy Jason Wiley or in there as well.
So that's Lockie Curtis from Mitch Hawksley.
That must be Chad Wiley, I think, just going up the inside there.
I think it could be. So these guys want to be a bit careful. It's nice riding in company because it tows you along, but you don't want to be too close at this early stage.
And a good battle of the 600cc bikes there.
Now keep an eye out at the front. Oh, Brad Hughes coming into the pits early. I'm not sure what's up there, but that certainly isn't intended. Let's hope. Well, I'm assuming because he's going to pit lane and not back into the pits proper, it's only a minor adjustment.
Just back to the front, Chris. Mike Jones has made very serious inroads into the lead, and he's looked like he's challenging here into through turn 1 into turn 2.
Yes, looking pretty comfortable there, Mike. The guys want to be a little bit careful not to let Mike get into his rhythm, because we know what sort of pace he's capable of.
Yes, well, definitely that's the strategy that they've got for this race, is to go as hard as they can. Mike uses fitness, but whether there's going to be, the fuel stops are going to be the issue here with the R1.
Well, there's no doubt they're going to be doing 2 stops, and I expect every 1,000 out there will be. Not really sure what's going on with the Brad Hughes machine. There's not a lot of action going on, so yeah, there is now. Changing a rear tyre by the looks of it.
Just back to the lead. Mike Jones there has gone into the lead, down the back straight.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of time Mike settles into now.
Just checking the previous lap for Mike Jones, a 53.17. So
53.17. That's almost a lap record.
53.17. Yep. That was on the previous lap, actually.
There you go, an endurance race and almost an outright lap record. So are these guys messing around? No, they're not.
If that did happen, Chris, it'd be surprising, but considering there's the hardest tyre in the back of that bike, so.
Yeah, of course, he's got to consider that that tyre's got 2 hours of hard work ahead of it, so, and I'm sure Mike knows that full well. He'll be managing that bike as he needs to get through to the flag, because it does need to be in a position to be able to sprint at the end.
Yeah, a 53.32 that time for Mike Jones, and a 54.02 for the bike in second.
So the question now in Ted Collins' mind is, what do I do? Do I try and chase? Or do we... It's a challenging time for a rider, because you don't know how the race is going to play out until you win it.
No, and then there's all sorts of other variables as well. So potential rider incidents, red flags, yellow flags.
Now what's interesting here is Matt Long on the 600 is actually on the back wheel of Brett Simmons on the Kawasaki ZX10. Speaks to the fantastic riding that Matt's doing this weekend, and of course that Brett's still coming to terms with that loaned bike. But back at the front, Mike Jones looking across the line again. He's going to go through at a 53.58, so that looks to be the sweet spot. Low to mid 53s.
That's a pretty quick pace to be going for a long time if he continues this up.
Absolutely incredible. So question is, how is that going to affect the tyre? So run through the race order. So we've got Mike Jones on bike 1, then Ted Collins, Brett Simmons, Matty Long on the bike 23. That's the first of the 600s. Then we've got Lockie Curtis doing a sensational job. That's a Suzuki GSXR 600. John O'Hughes riding solo. That's a Triumph 675. Mitchell Hawksley Honda CBR 600. Chad Wiley on a Yamaha R6. Peter Bellchambers on a GSXR 600. Jesse Woods, I think that's actually his teammate, Hamish Sellers. That's a Yamaha R6. Wade Schrader on a Yamaha R1. And Matt Carey on a Kawasaki ZX6R. So there are 12 bikes on track at the moment. The gap now out to 2.7 seconds between leader Mike Jones and Ted Collins. Big shout out to our sponsors again, Motorworks Motorcycles and Michelin race tyres, or road tyres as well, of course. Thanks for their valuable support for this hosting of this event. Also a big shout out to everyone who's watching on our live stream, and hoping you're enjoying the Michelin Motorworks 2022 Baskerville 2 Hour. While we're speaking to those viewing, I say a big hello also to those that have been to the racetrack before, previous visitors to Baskerville or the 2 hour, maybe previous race winner Kyle Buckley might be tuned in, or I think even Lincoln Sutherland might be having a look. So hi guys, great to see you back here again one day.
Certainly would be.
So looks like Brett Simmons now on, spinning up a little bit, the Kawasaki ZX10, just starting to gap Matty Long as Brett's becoming a little bit more familiar with the bike. Brett's saying he was uncharacteristically nervous before this race. Goes to show it doesn't matter how much experience you have, it still gets to you.
Absolutely. Brett's probably done a million laps around this circuit. Been riding here for around about 20 years, I guess. Done a lot of riding around Baskerville Raceway. Just looking at the 600 guys there, Chris, just going up the hill, Lockie Curtis and John O'Hughes having a ding-dong battle on the 600s.
There's a few battles starting to play out, Rod.
And I'll tell you what, Chris, we're not far from seeing Mike Jones encountering lapped traffic.
Yeah, well, running those sort of lap times, no wonder. Of course, his lap times are going to start to drop off a little bit as he needs to navigate lap traffic.
Yeah, still a 53.72 on the last lap for Mike, so still running a very good pace. But yeah, Mike Jones now just coming down into the braking marker there, Chris, at the end of the straight, so just about to encounter the back markers for the first time.
Great to see Brad Hughes back on track. Yeah, you want to be careful in there. Things could get a little bit tight.
That's Matt Carey and Wade Schrader there, just being passed by Mike Jones.
Yeah, Mike's certainly wise to the hazards of navigating lap traffic. He knows that he needs to be cautious because it can end your race pretty quickly if you get it wrong.
Just looking at the gap there between Brett Simmons in third and Matthew Long. Brett's starting to get that gap out to around about 4 or 5 seconds now. So Matthew Long a few laps ago, Chris, was maybe only a dozen bike lengths from Brett Simmons, but that's now starting to stretch the other direction. Brett's slowly coming to terms with that loaned ZX10.
I say, no surprise. Bit of a battle here. Who's that? Josh Rees and Wade Schrader coming through the chute at the moment over the start-finish line. So nice little battle between the two of those. Josh Rees teamed with Matt Carey, but Wade Schrader on bike 420, he's riding solo, so he's probably thinking about what it takes to get to the end of this race, more so than pushing too hard too soon.
Yeah, well, Wade did this last year. He did attempt the solo effort. I don't think, did he make it all the way to the end? I can't remember, Chris. I thought he did about an hour and a half and was completely exhausted.
I think that could be right, but sorry, just change your tack there for a moment, Rod. I noticed Brett Simmons had his left hand off the handlebar, either trying to adjust something on the left-hand side of the bike coming over the start-finish line or indicating that there was an issue.
Okay.
So keep a close eye on that. His lap times are still fine, but just want to make sure there's no early problem for the Metch Simmons machine. Well, Ted Collins up the inside of Peter Bellchambers into one. So the gap now at 7.6 seconds. So what they'll be mindful of is at the change, it'll be Jeremy Huddleston jumping on the lead bike, and then Jason Spencer jumping on bike 2. Jason's going to have to try and reduce that margin, because at the end of the race, if it's Mike Jones back on the lead bike, the way it's looking is no one's going to match his pace unless there is a significant change in tyre wear or something unforeseen.
Yes, well, that's what we've seen in the past, Chris, at previous events. It's also crucial on that on those rear tyres, very punishing for 2 hours around here. So managing the tyre, managing the fuel, you know, what strategy do you work to? Is it flat out, or do you conserve? Go for the extra stop, or just try to get through on one? So some thousands will make through on a single fuel stop, but majority of the more higher horsepower ones will need to do a splash and a dash there somewhere towards the end.
That's right. So getting to the stage of the race now where some riders will be starting to feel that fatigue. As we were saying earlier, you have to transition between a sprint race style and an endurance race style. Not that you know it from the way Mike Jones is riding, but I think it just speaks to his level of experience and the amount of riding he does, that he doesn't really have one style or the other. But for a lot of the locals, they'll start to, as we say, just tire from the physical input, and they're going to have to start to relax a little.
Yeah, well also too, Chris, if you reflect on ASBK level racing, the races there are typically a lot longer. So, this early on into the race for Mike, it's more exactly like an ASBK race. So, where, the local club races here are used to shorter races, so they will be feeling it, no doubt. And at some point, they've just got to get in that conservation mode and just bring it home. Just trying to see how many laps in we've been. So we've gone 14, just getting close to 15 minutes in. So still 1 hour and 46 to go. A long way to the finish line.
And that's the thing about this race. Even up to the last lap, things tend to happen. So if you think it's looking like a foregone conclusion, let me show you it is definitely not. There's a lot to happen yet.
Yeah, let's look at Mike Jones there coming through some traffic into turn 1. Just on our monitor as well. An exciting part of the circuit. He's catching some more lap traffic as you drop down the hill, down through the S's.
As we said, he needs to be very careful navigating his way around.
You see the big difference here between the R1 and acceleration up the hill here compared to the 600s that are next to him. So just threading it through there, taking it easy. That's Lockie Curtis and Jonathan Hughes there that he's got to get past. But once we get onto the back straight here, it's around about a half a kilometre long straight, and the R1 there, lots of straight line speed as it comes down the straight.
So the lead 600 still Matty Long just going up at the top of the S's at the moment. Doing a grand job actually, right there, still behind Brett Simmons. So let's have a look at Brett's lap times.
Yeah, those gaps have stayed about the same between those two, Chris, for the last 4 or 5 laps.
Well, look, Brett's fastest lap, 55.3. Last lap through was a 56.88. So I'd be thinking that there's something amiss with that bike. I don't want to sound the alarm too soon, but unless he had some lap traffic in there, that might be the case. I just thought, given that he had his hand off the handlebar a couple of laps back, let's just keep an eye on this lap and see what it is.
He's just coming through there now, through the chute on the ZX10.
So Brett Simmons goes through 56.89. It's not the pace that's going to win this race. Well, I can't say won't. It's unlikely.
Yes, well, Mike Jones is now coming through, dropping into turn 2 now, so he's not too far from catching Brett Simmons there.
And what will be critical here is if Mike does put a lap up, then that reduces this effect of any red flag, because in a red flag, the race will be stopped and all the margins compress again. Okay, so just had an update. Apparently something fell off the bike at the bottom of the hill. So what that is, potentially on the racetrack.
You're talking about the ZX10 of Simmons' entry? Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
So I can see something sitting on the track. What it is, I don't know. But if that came off their bike, then that's put a big dent in their hopes. Because clearly it is affecting Brett at the moment.
Yes, and as we can see, the Matthew Long entry there is actually starting to catch them ahead, so that gap's been reduced from around 5 seconds down to about 1.5 seconds.
What'll be interesting, right, is to see if that's something they can rectify at the first pit stop. I'm sure the team are thinking very hard about that.
Got looks like an oil flag out there.
Well, it's a lack of adhesion flag.
Lack of adhesion
because
flag.
There's a part lying on the track.
Right. So I wonder what that could be. If you can see it from here, it has to be a sizable part of a motorcycle, maybe a fairing panel or something.
Well, as I said, Brett had his left hand off the handlebar, either looking for something or indicating something over the start-finish line a few laps back. So I don't know. We can't tell, but all we know is that it seems to be having an impact on them. So Rod, when do you think we might see some of the early pit stops?
Well, I think they'll. I don't know if we'll have early pit stops. I think we'll see people trying to maximise as much as they can out of that first tank of fuel. I would imagine we'll start seeing bikes coming in around that between 50 and 55 minutes, typically on the thousands, where the 600 riders will probably around that 60-minute mark. I guess it'll come down to their chosen fuel strategy on the bigger bikes. But I think if it was me, I'd be looking to get as much out of that first stint as possible.
So you're right, Matthew Long has started to pull Brett Simmons back in. So there's no doubt at all that Brett is struggling. I just can't imagine what it could be. It's causing that problem. I wonder if... it's impossible to tell.
It's very impossible to tell from here. But, as we can see, Mike Jones there is... he's now only about 20 or 30 bike lengths behind those two, so it won't be long and he'll be putting a lap on the Simmons entry.
Yeah, so as I was saying before, in the case of a red flag where the race is paused, all the gaps between riders are compressed again. But if you're a lap up, then you stay. Well, if you're a lap down, you stay a lap down is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, it makes it very difficult to unlap yourself.
So Matty Long is through on Brett Simmons, so that's important, and Mike Jones right behind. So Brett's not even challenging Matt. He knows that he's riding with a problem. And there you go, Mike Jones puts a lap up on one of his main rivals. And so too Matthew Long in front. That 600, remember, is only going to pit once. The 1,000 of the Yamaha R1 of Mike Jones has to pit twice, so that's critical as well, that he's about to put a lap on Matthew Long.
Getting some more information here, Chris, about what potentially came off the bike. It sounds like it's the gear lever. So that's going to make things, that'll explain, well, that will explain exactly why the pace will drop, because he'll be stuck in one gear for the whole lap, and that's not an ideal way of getting around the circuit.
No, not at all.
Just have to have a look at his foot here. As he's coming into the end of the straight, just see if we can see any gear changes. It appears that he's not changing gears.
Question is, what gear is he in? Well, I heard him change down there, I thought.
No.
Turn one,
No change. So I'd say he's probably either stuck in third or fourth gear, which will explain the lack of drive up the hill. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, that's tragic for so early on. It will overcome one problem, having to remember which way the shift pattern is.
Yes.
You won't have to deal with that at all.
Well, we've seen this happen before, actually, on my bike, going back to 2015 with Mike Jones and Robbie Bugden sharing the bike. They actually ground the gear lever off and it fell off. So they still managed to win the race that year. The lean angles that Mike was generating, I think, destroyed the gear lever after about 50 laps, and during the pit stop, Robbie Bugden manually selected third gear, and that's how he rode the race. So it's a bit slow down the straight, but they managed to bring it home. So if you're stuck in fourth gear, it's probably going to be a real struggle to get that drive off the slower corners. But maybe in the pit stop, if they can manually get it into third, they may have some sort of way of salvaging it from here.
Yeah, how do they do that? Look, there's another Kawasaki ZX-10 up there. Maybe they could replace it. And is it worth it? That's something the team are going to have to work out. And if they have one, is it better to call him in now while there's most of the race remaining?
Yeah, that's one of the strategies I guess you've got to work out. The team, if that's the case, the team in here, they're probably not aware what the problem is. But Brett's pushing on. certainly don't appear to be seeing any gear changes, so I'd say that information that's come through is correct. I think, Chris, how we changed the gear back in 2015 on my Honda was a set of multi-grips.
Those
quickly put into the right gear, and that
I don't think we left them on there for the race though.
No, just change it from fourth to third with the multi-grips, and away they went.
So I guess just to recap on the race order at the moment, Mike Jones now has a 15-second lead over Ted Collins. Then we're back to Matthew Long, the first of the 600s, and obviously P3 outright. Brett Simmons still holding down P4. Then it is Hamish Sellers on the number 57 Yamaha R6. Then Jonathan Hughes riding solo on the number 7 Triumph Daytona 675. Into bike 52 Mitchell Hawksley, Honda CBR 600. And bike 82 Lockie Curtis, GSX-R 600. Bike 126 is Chad Wiley riding with his dad Jason Wiley, but it's Chad in the seat at the moment, so that's a Yamaha R6. Josh Rees it is next on bike 61. That's Kawasaki ZX6R. Then we've got bike 88 Peter Bellchambers on a GSX-R 600. Bike 420 Wade Schrader on a Yamaha R1. And bike 111 Brad Hughes on a Honda CBR 1000, but we saw Brad pitted early. He was looking at the rear wheel. I didn't actually see if he managed to change a tyre or there was just some issue that could easily resolve, but he's back on track.
He is, and Chris, just looking at the Wiley entry, I think it actually is Jason on the bike.
It is Jason, is it? I thought it was Chad, but...
it does look, just coming down the back straight now, and looking at the riding style, it does look like it's Dad on the bike, not son.
Interesting. Sorry, you go, Rod.
Yeah, if you have a look here, Chris, coming around the sweeper now, just coming through the chute, it does look like the style of Jason Wiley.
Well, that's John O'Hughes crossing the line at the moment from Mitch Hawksley.
John O'Hughes. White bike, white leathers, but when he appears...
We've got Brad Hughes, and then that's Lockie Curtis on bike 82 crossing the line. No, I think that is Chad Wiley. It looks like Chad, and it's certainly the early gossip I got from the team. That,
no, you're right, sorry. I think I was looking at the incorrect motorcycle. Very easy to do from up here, especially with my eyes.
At that time, Jason Wiley looked pretty relaxed, sitting back in a reclining seat, thinking Chad can go first.
Well, Chad should probably do as many laps as possible and just take it easy for his dad.
Just draw your attention to Ted Collins rounding up Brett Simmons. Wow, that's got a little bit tight through the S's. But Ted now putting a lap up on that bike, and again, that was obviously one of the main contenders for this weekend. So again, it would be interesting to know what it was and whether or not it can be resolved. And is it worth coming in now to try and fix it, or leave Brett out there for the full 50 minutes?
Just going to check the Mike Jones just been across the line again, a 53.99 on that last lap, Chris. That's the 30th lap of the race.
That appears to be the sweet spot for him. Started off in the low 53s, but now settled into that high 53 bracket. Yes,
53.17 on lap 5, but still circulating in the high 53s. It's a very, very competitive time here.
Oh, it's a sensational time. It's only within a second of the outright lap record, so to be doing that in a 2-hour endurance race. Tyres getting hot, suspension getting hot. Mitch Hawksley just crossing the line on bike 52. He's reigning 600cc state champion. 57.91. It's a bit off the pace for Mitch. I think Mitch has run high 54s before, right?
Yes, definitely.
So not quite sure what's going on there, whether or not they're running to a different strategy, or there's something with the bike he's not comfortable with.
Oh, it's more than likely hot and just conserving energy, so it should be hot work out there. It's not as warm as yesterday, where we got up to high 20s, but it's probably early 20s today, and a nice bit of patchy cloud, so it shouldn't be too bad under the leathers.
So Brett Simmons just coming down through the S's at the moment, caught up with a couple of 600s there. Looks like Hamish Sellers looking to try and get past Brett, so there's no doubt that he's struggling with that.
Yeah, just looking at them going up through suckers there. Hamish is all over the back of Brett there, but Brett's getting, he was getting good drive up the hill, so I really can't work out what's going on with the bike, whether it is the gear change, but it doesn't appear we're seeing anything moving with his foot.
We've certainly got some speed down the straight. Look at, I tell you what, Hamish Sellers up the inside of, who was that? Who's the other rider in the group?
It's Bell Chambers?
Or is it, it's James Ryan on the Peter Bell Chambers bike, isn't it? Or is it is Peter, sorry. It is Peter Bell Chambers. So let's keep an eye on Brett and see if he does actually manage to change gear. A bit hard from this angle because the gear change is on the left-hand side of the machine, obviously. But he's certainly holding up Hamish Sellers through the S's.
Yeah, look at that. Hamish on the 600 there, and wasn't disgraced up the hill where normally the ZX10 would show it a clean heel.
And there he goes. He's up the inside of Brett Simmons into Calvin. So I expect the ZX10 to go back past down the straight, that being 1000cc. And sure enough, it does. Now, whether or not Hamish is going to have another go at him.
Doesn't appear to be.
It also doesn't appear that Brett's downshifting, so it probably confirms what you said, Rod, that there is no gear lever on that bike. It's so hard to see going over the start-finish line.
Yeah, based on that, you'd imagine he's stuck in fourth gear, if that's the case, because it's definitely got some speed down the back straight when it gets up towards the end of the straight anyway.
Yeah, and the reason he's probably slow through here is that being in a tall gear, it's a slow corner and hard to actually manage the...
Yeah, you have a lot of torque there, which is going to spin the tyre up and lower the RPM.
So it's probably not too far before we're going to start to see some early pit stops. How many laps down are we there, Rod?
We have Mike Jones, the leader, completed 34 laps. Just clicked over 30 minutes into the race, so still an hour and 30 to go. So plenty of time for riders to still settle in, and plenty of time for things to change. But I think Mike Jones will probably run that through as close as he can to the hour.
Well, interestingly, a bit of feedback from the pits is it's only a knee slider.
Right. Okay.
Surely not. He's certainly struggling with something else on the bike then if it's only a knee slider.
I guess it'll upset your riding if the way Brett rides.
But if that's the case, again, wouldn't it be better to pull him in and put Jed on the bike? Got a bike running off at the end of the back straight there. Kept it upright. I'm not sure what happened. But I expect there'll be some yellow flags out there in a moment. Hopefully they can get back on track. Two bikes coming through, so they need to be very careful of that. And back on track, so that's great.
Trying to work out who that is, actually.
I think that could be Lockie Curtis, is it?
Yes, it is, Lockie Curtis.
And still have Hamish Sellers and Brett Simmons behind. So hard to say what happened there. It could be a bit of fatigue. It could just be...
Yes, could have outbraked himself.
Yeah, that's right. That's all possible.
Down the back straight.
So Hamish is going to be pretty keen to get past here because he's trying to get away from Brett.
So Lockie Curtis is probably the longest he's ridden a motorcycle in a race in his short career. So, you know, it's not easy to do. He's done 30 odd minutes in and he's probably feeling the heat of it. So used to, as we know, Chris, a lot of the riders are used to short races.
Well, it's also not just physically tiring, it's psychologically tiring. Your mind starts to wander.
Can do, for sure.
And you've got to force yourself to focus. And those sort of things can cause, as you said, an error where you can outbrake yourself. So we're not sure what happened to Lockie. But it looks like Hamish Sellers there, just going up into turn 2 at the moment, is starting to maybe gap at Brett Simmons a tiny bit.
I just had a look at Brett's left leg as he came through, and there appears to be no knee slider on his left leg. So that will certainly slow him down.
Mike Jones just coming up there behind might be careful there, Mike. I think it's John O'Hughes, is it? Looks like the Triumph.
Yeah, I think it's Jonathan Hughes on the 675.
Yep, the R1 making light work of it up the hill, as you'd expect. Ted Collins is crossing the line, overtaking Chad Wiley. So the gap back is 26 seconds now between Mike Jones and Jason Spencer.
Ted Collins.
Sorry, yeah, showing us Jason Spencer on the timing screen, but it's actually Ted Collins, his teammate.
Mike Jones is coming around to complete another lap.
Flat 55,
so he did have a bit of traffic in that lap. 38 laps now down. Yes, Chris, I'd imagine we'll still be seeing riders out for another at least 10 or 15 minutes before we start seeing some changes. Once again, it will depend on that fuel strategy on the bigger bikes.
That's right. I was talking before about rider fatigue. That will be starting to creep in, but so too the bikes are starting to heat up and change. Usually only during an 8-lap sprint race, you don't get the suspension as hot as it can get in an endurance race like this. And the tyres as well were probably starting to get past their best.
Now Mike just signalled there to the pit, so and looks like the crew are coming across to get ready.
So how many laps down are we there?
That'll be 39 laps completed.
So we wouldn't want to make it much less.
So 39 laps, yes. Considering at that pace they're going to do around 130 laps for this race.
Well, that could be critical because it would have thought that they'd want to make 40 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because 3 lots of 40 is 120 minutes and 2 hours. So anything less than that could mean another stop. It could be the pace that Mike's been running has actually had an impact on the fuel economy. That's the thing about this race. It just throws up so many variables. Mike coming through traffic at the moment, looking to get past Lockie Curtis. There's threads the needle up the inside. So 35 minutes in. You'd be hoping
that you'd want to go through at least to 45 or more. It could be a consumption issue, Chris. The R1, Mike's been running pretty much a lot of laps in the 53, so we know the R1s can be pretty heavy on fuel around here.
Well, that's the thing. You never know how this race may play out. We're still in the very, very early stages.
It looks like just looking for Jeremy Huddleston, who has got the helmet on, so he's Mike Jones's teammate, who's just coming through into the pit area ready for a rider change. Mike's just having a look there as he went past to see if he was in the position.
If Mike was indicating, I'm thinking that means there's a fuel light on. He must know something that he's indicating to the team they need to be aware of.
Yeah, fuel light usually with these bikes, you've got quite a bit of leeway.
Well, no doubt they would know.
I'm not 100% familiar with how the Yamaha fueling works, but certainly on my Honda, when the light comes on, you've got quite a lot of laps left in the tank.
Yeah, well, I know the team will have worked that out, so they can't afford to take any risks. They'll need to get him in at the right time. Race leader Mike Jones is at the end of the back straight at the moment.
Yeah, looks like Mike's still... looks like he's coming in the pits now. So
37 minutes and 10 seconds, so that could be a factor.
Absolutely. This is, you would have thought, reasonably early to be pitting.
I think that is early.
Okay, so they'll be getting as much fuel into this bike as they can.
Yep, so the stand goes under the bike, tail over the tank for refuelling.
There's a strict procedure to follow for safety reasons.
Yes, and Marshall's standing there making sure that everything's done according to the rules, so that's good to see.
only 3 riders, or sorry, 3 people allowed to be participating in the refuelling. You can see the rider there, Jeremy Huddleston, has to stay behind the small fence there until the bike's prepared and ready to go.
Mike Jones passing on a bit of advice. It will generally be about how the bike's vary and the tyres are feeling. Jez are now on the bike, the stand's removed, fires up and away, so that's a nice pit stop. But again, 38 minutes. Now Jez is not going to run the pace that Mike was, so that may make up for a little bit of that. He's going to need to make more like 45 minutes on this tank.
Yeah, absolutely. We know based on last year's event, that was very achievable at the pace they were running. So typically, I know Jeremy's been doing some training and rehearsing for the race, and Jezza can run. He's done low 55s on the bike, but I think he can run quite a few laps in the high 55s and into the low 6s. So he should be able to do that for a good 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's all looking like a potential splash and dash at the end. Even if Jezza can eke it out at 45 minutes, it's going to be nervous for them, because we can see now that the fuel consumption with Mike riding that pace is probably not what they were expecting. So it could come down to the wire.
Absolutely. So often in the past, this race has definitely come down to the wire. We've seen, Mike Jones in 2016. He was leading the race, but ran out of fuel with 2 laps to go. So, that's how critical getting that fuel strategy correct can be.
Now, with that, of course, there's been a change in the lead. So that now puts Ted Collins on bike 72 into the lead, who's now got 45 seconds up on Jeremy Huddleston. Well, be interesting to see what sort of pace Jeremy settles into. And it should only be, I'm thinking, another 10 minutes or less before we see Ted Collins on bike 72 pit. Ted's just coming through the sweeper at the moment. About to cross the start-finish line. Goes through at 55.17, so running about a second slower than what Mike Jones was.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what Jeremy Huddleston can run once he gets himself up to speed. So a 57.1 on that first flying lap for Jeremy. Certainly well off where he normally would be running. So he's just got to get his head into the race and ease in and try to get those times down to the high 55s.
That's right, and feel out the tyres. They've already done a fair bit of work. Hamish Sellers there up the inside of, not sure who that was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either, actually, who that rider is. Is that the Wiley entry?
I think it may be, yes. Used to seeing them in the fluoro orange.
Just noticed there, Chris, Ted Collins signalled to the pits as he came through that time.
Okay, well, that's in line with what I was saying. Sometime within the next 10 minutes, I would have thought that bike was coming in.
So that's also quite early on, 41.5 minutes into the race.
Well, most thousands typically pit at about 50 minutes, so they struggle to get past that. But, what could be interesting here is the slower pace that Brett Simmons has been running may actually get this bike through the hour. Now, if it happened to be that he's only an E-slider and he gets over the hour, who knows, with Jed Metcher on board, if they can start to run a quick pace, he's obviously been looking after the tyres. It's still possible.
Yeah, and look, they might have a strategy that is conservation mode, so definitely last year we saw that with the race from Brett. He's just gone back past Matthew Long there, so he's just moved himself back into third position outright.
It is a lot of work though for them to do, because a pit stop won't pull them back a full lap, and they've still got to chase down Mike Jones at the end, so it's a lot of hard work to place on Jed Metcher. But thing is, it's all uncertain at the moment.
Yeah, Just looking down the pit there, Mike Jones is having a bit of a drinks break, and yeah, g'day Mike, he's waving up to us, but he's got the leathers off and cooling down, and more than likely got an ice pack or two, and get some refreshments in, get ready for next stint.
So 57.23 last time for Brett Simmons, holding down position 3 on track at the moment.
Yes, he did lose a bit of time to Matthew Long a few laps ago, but Brett's picked the pace up again and he's moved back through to 3rd.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued to know what the issue was, or is.
I'd say if you have a close look at his left leg as he comes past next time round, you will see that he is missing a knee slider. That does have a reasonable impact on the way you corner a motorcycle, because you do rely on your knees quite a bit. Here he comes now.
Pulling out on Matthew Long a little.
So you'll see there, looks like it's just Velcro where it used to be.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with that myself. It's not a very nice feeling once your knee slider goes, because your skin's not very far behind it.
No, and it's you know, you rely on your knees as part of the way you corner the motorcycle. So you use it as a gauge and all sorts of other reasons.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's not necessarily to lean on, although you can if you start to lose the front. But it's more just like a feel for where the track is. It gives you just one other reference point.
Yeah, it's a point of reference, and you know, when you're racing, you use all different points to whether it's braking markers or markers around the circuit or something like that. But you're always looking for reference points to keep your laps consistent.
So 44 minutes elapsed. It's certainly going to be time when some of these thousands are going to be looking to come in for fuel. As I said, that pace that Brett Simmons has been running could quite possibly get them through the hour. So one pit stop is going to reduce that margin back to the leader a lot. And of course, as we keep saying, there's a possibility that the lead bike might have to pit twice.
Yes, there is that possibility, and you know, we could have got it all wrong, wondering that there was an issue with the Simmons bike, but he may have just been right into their strategy, which was conservation early on, and now he's picking the pace up. So,
look, it could well be.
You know, we're not privy to what's going on there. So a 56.54 for Brett on that last lap. He did do a 55.3 on lap 10. So it's certainly those lap times we know from last year were very easy on fuel for the 1000cc bikes.
As I say, typically running that sort of 56, 57 second pace, 1,000 will get to about 50 minutes on a tank. Interesting to look at Jeremy Huddleston coming over the line now. So he's settled into a pace of 55.83. Yep. Really pretty handy, given that Ted Collins is running flat 55, so only about 0.8 of a second off. So
nearly a lap down, as we can see. Jeremy Huddleston there. He's just about to head up the hill, and Ted Collins there is just coming through the bottom of the S's, so only maybe a couple hundred metres on track apart. So there's a little bit of work to do there for the Huddleston entry.
And for those that haven't heard us comment already, you know, this race is never over until the checkered flag. We saw Mike Jones a few years back run out on the very last lap.
Second last lap, wasn't it?
He told me last night it was the last lap.
Oh, last lap.
It was the last lap. He was running out of fuel. He was trying to nurse it around, and right at the bottom of the hill there is where it gave up the ghost. And that was it. So it's never over. Look out, here comes bike 72 into the pits. So
okay.
Ted Collins, this will be interesting.
So this is the current race leader. Stop for the man to put the foot down, and let's just have a look here, Chris, to see if they are going to change tyre or they're just doing a splash and dash.
So 47 minutes.
Definitely a rider change. You see Jason Spencer there with the green helmet. So yes, just fuel going in. And yeah, interestingly, they're happy with that tyre, so no tyre change at this point in the race. That's going to put the Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston bike back into the lead of this race.
Yeah, just gone past and reclaimed the lead now. So I would have thought the timing would have updated. Still showing Ted Collins in the lead.
And Jason Spencer, teammate to Ted Collins, now on the machine and exiting, I should say, pit lane. Just looking to see where Jeremy Huddleston is on track. He is must be just coming down into Calvin's. So about half a lap difference in position on track.
Yeah, not sure why the timing hasn't updated there, because it's still showing Ted Collins in the lead. And if I have it correct, it should have reversed order now after that pit stop, because Mike Jones certainly had a handy advantage over... There it goes. So it's just updated. So Jeremy Huddleston is now back in the lead. So it's going to be a matter of how far behind Jason Spencer is on bike 72.
Yeah, so now we've got first and second on the track, Chris. We've got two local riders, Jeremy Huddleston and Jason Spencer.
Jason Spencer about to cross.
It's going to be a battle for of honours between the two local guys.
23 seconds. That's the job for Jason Spencer.
Look, and we know in the past, Jeremy Huddleston still coming to terms with this one, and Jason Spencer has typically been the faster rider. Has been riding...
spinning up a bit there at the bottom of the hill for Jason.
Yeah, I guess that you get a bit of cooling down on the tyre in the pit stop.
Well, I guess it's also because you're not tuned into how the tyres are feeling. First couple of laps, he's jumping onto a bike with a bit of wear on it, or tyres with a bit of wear on them.
Yes, they're hot, and they've done over 40 laps, so you've just got to get your head around how the bike's feeling.
So what's going to be really interesting is to see when Brett Simmons pits. If they get over the hour and the issue is only a knee slider, then they're back in it.
Absolutely. So we've just clicked the 50 minutes down. 1 hour 10 to go, so if they get as close to 1 hour as they can on that tank of fuel, they're going to be in a great position.
And what's also interesting here is that Matthew Long is only 50 seconds in arrears. They'll only need to pit once on the 600, and showing is Hamish Sellers.
Yeah, and Hamish Sellers has teamed up with Jesse Woods, so two very capable riders. So they're certainly going to be eyeing honours for the 600 podium for sure, and also cross-ended in the Open.
I'm just trying to work this out, because I don't think either machine has been into the pits, and this is showing that Matthew Long is 51 seconds behind the leader, and Hamish Sellers is 54 seconds behind the leader. So that means Hamish has done a great job of reeling Matthew Long in. Okay. I thought Matthew had a bit of a margin over the next 600, so that really livens up the 600 field.
Okay, well, we'll just have to try and find him on track. Here we go. Here's Matthew Long now. It's on the yellow-faired Yamaha R6. He's just coming down to the straight. And look, Chip Sellers, there he is, Chris.
So lap times, Matthew Long last time through 57.94, Hamish Sellers 57.63.
Matthew Long is actually going very slowly. He's got some, I dare say he's probably got some grip issues there. He's very ginger through the sweeper.
So Matthew Long 57.71. It's only half a second a lap between them.
Okay.
Jeremy Huddleston looking to go around the outside there of Chip Sellers. I would have thought that'd be hard work there for getting the R1 around the outside of Chip Sellers on the 600, but he seems to do that pretty easily.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see the battle of the 600s.
Well, that's shaping up to be an absolute cracker between those two teams.
Yeah, fantastic.
Don't forget also that they're running in Superbike, so they're running P4 and P5 outright. So once again, the complexities of this race. Oh, look out, we've got a retirement. Wade Schrader's cruising around the outside of the chute, so I'm not sure what's up there. Looking to pull to the inside to get out of the way. The bike's sounding a bit flat, maybe.
Yeah, he's got his leg out. I think I reckon he's probably run out of fuel. Not a good place to stop there, but...
He's on the pit lane. So it's good to be out of the way.
Put a yellow flag out there. It sounded like he's running out of fuel.
Well, possibly. Now he's in the worst place. He has a whole lap to go. There's not much you can do about it. You can't go backwards. And he does need to move because he's got a yellow flag out for that reason. He's rolling again, so hopefully it means he can, he's either sorted it out or he can get round and come back into the pits. But importantly, 2 bikes coming into the pits, and one of them is Brett Simmons.
Okay, so how many minutes have we gone? Just 53 and a half minutes.
You're absolutely right. There is no knee slider on that bike. Now let's have a look and see what happens.
Well, no doubt the fuel will be going in very shortly. Looks like we've got Lockie Curtis also coming in to change rider, and they're the first 600 in the pits.
I think what's really critical and interesting here, Rod, is that we're 54 minutes into the 54 minutes into the race, and Brett Simmons riding that pace has not been enough to get over the hour. That means they must stop again.
Yeah, certainly with, you'd imagine, Jed Metzer back on the bike. Jed's been certainly into the 53s yesterday in sprint races and qualifying. Whether he's going to try that pace and try to run the leaders down, but it's a long way back from there. But certainly we have seen Jed running some pretty competitive times yesterday.
We're about to find out if Jed Metzer, well, if there's a problem with the bike, because Jed's lap times will tell us. So Jed just exiting the pits now.
Just checking the gap between Jeremy Huddleston and Jason Spencer. So Jason Spencer 55.28 on the previous lap. Jeremy Huddleston is a 56.2, so a full second, and that gap's come down to 18.5 seconds.
It's going to be fascinating to see what Jed Metzer can do here. If his pace is still off, then that tells us there's a machine problem. I think it answers the question about strategy. I don't think there's any attempt to try and get through in the hour, because clearly they didn't make it. Look at this. Matthew Long, Chip Sellers, the contest for the 600 class, going through turn 1 at the moment.
This is outright 600 on us here. So Chip Sellers has come from a fair way back to close right down on Matthew Long.
Gap at the front from 23 seconds back to 17 seconds. So Jason Spencer is slowly eating into the lead of Jeremy Huddleston. Of course, Jeremy will know his job here is to manage that lead as best he can, but make sure he hands Mike Jones a bike that Mike can sprint on at the end.
Yeah, it's going to come down to that, definitely that last 10 or 15 minutes. We've seen it many times in this race before.
It just never ceases to amaze me, Rod, how this race plays out. It's never as you expect.
And Chip Sellers is actually now looking on our monitor there. He's gone ahead of Matthew Long and now leading the outright 600 on us.
Well, Matthew Long back to a flat 58, and given that he was running 55s earlier in the weekend, I think there's some sort of problem for him. I wonder if his tyre's going away.
That's the first thing you'd imagine would be a grip issue this far into the race, but you never know.
No, you don't. But certainly Chip Sellers looks to be starting to eke out a tiny advantage now. Now, next bike in is Mitchell Hawksley. 57 minutes, that's not much for a 600. I would have thought they were getting over the hour.
It's another early stop. I thought, I think you'd try to get that full hour or a bit, hour and 2, hour and 5 would be ideal. So very interesting. That puts that pressure on the second rider, that little bit extra time in the seat as well, with a bike with worn tyres and potentially getting very low on fuel.
Yeah, no, they were tossing up tyre compounds as well, and it's so hard to know with a light bit of cloud cover, if the sun was to come out, it may impact the tyre decision or tyre compound decision.
Yes, that's definitely something to take into consideration on a 2-hour race. Some riders choose to change the tyre on the fuel stop, so it's like just looking at back on track, Chris, at the end of the straight, we've got Chip Sellers and Matthew Long having a ding-dong battle here. That Chip Sellers passing Matthew Long's woken Matthew up and they're back into it.
Now what's going to be interesting here is clock a flying lap from Jed Metcher, who's about to come through the chute over the start-finish line. Jed goes through 54.36, so question answered. Nothing wrong with the bike. It was all the knee slider. And it begs the question as to why the team didn't pit earlier, because they've potentially lost a lot of valuable time. Yeah,
look, that's something we'll find out no doubt later on, but it's up to Jed Metzer now to see how far he can get through on this next tank of fuel.
Well, that's right, and of course if they had pitted too soon, it would have potentially meant 3 stops, so it would have been really challenging for the team to work that out, but they're still in the running, and that's what's important. Jeremy Huddleston just crossing the line, our race leader. Yeah, and a 55.71 there for Jeremy on the last lap. We'll see what Jason Spencer, he did a previous lap before, 55.81, so... With a 16-second gap, what is it now?
55.63, so pretty much matching each other for lap times.
Yep, nothing different, it's still 16.3 seconds.
16.3, so that stays the same. That's looking really great for the Jeremy Huddleston, Mike Jones entry at this stage.
Well, as I said, Jeremy's role here is to manage that lead as best he can and hand Mike a bike that he can sprint on at the end if he needs to. So at the moment, that's playing into their hands very nicely.
Just going to see the 600 category, Chris. We'll just check the fastest lap so far for all the 600 guys. It looks to be...
Another bike coming into the pits at the moment here, Rod. Okay. I think it's the Lockie Curtis machine, is it?
No, I think it's the Peter Bell Chambers.
It is the Peter Bell Chambers machine. So that's the first one to make the hour. 1 hour's just up.
1 hour exactly. So.
Oh yeah, make sure you put your foot down, Pete.
Yep, Pete's got his foot down, so he'll be heading over to James Ryan to take the final hour. Oops, nearly stopped at the wrong pit area. Easy to do, I guess. Josh
Ree's doing a great job out there on bike number 61. He has Ryan Taylor now behind him. It's interesting to see how Ryan's going. But hopefully they've sorted that fork issue out that they had yesterday. Ryan just coming down through the S's, as you can see at the moment. Jeremy Huddleston up the inside of that'll be Chad Wiley. So Chad's still to pit.
Yeah, just looking down to see if Jason Wiley's there, ready to go.
Now we have 2 bikes coming into the pits, one being Wade Schroeder.
Wade Schroeder. Now Wade's going solo, so there'll be no rider jumping on Wade's bike.
Oh, Chip Sellers getting a bit frustrated trying to get past Wade. Wade looks like he's almost out of fuel, is he? He's really struggling with that.
Yeah, well, the R1, he's made an hour, so that's a great effort. It is an earlier model R1, so probably not as heavy on fuel as the later ones, but it's still a 1000cc bike, and they typically use quite a bit more fuel around here than the 600. So he's made the hour. It's a great effort.
Oh, poor old Chip. He jumps the fence and falls straight over. He's certainly put in.
He seems pretty pumped.
Well, he should be, because lead 600.
And he's, as you can see there, he's given Jesse Woods, the co-rider, about to jump on the bike, giving him all the information that he can relay, and seems pretty animated. Just get all that fuel in, and those guys should be good to go for the whole hour that's remaining. Also got, here we go, Chris. We've got Chad Wiley coming in.
So clearly, all these bikes now have made the hour, and that's 1 fuel stop.
You can see Jason Wiley down there in they've got the fluoro green and white leathers. So he's that's Dad about to get on. Son getting off. He looks. Talking about riders walking funny. Chad's only a young guy, but there you go. How hard is that, Chris?
It's very hard.
He's got off the bike and he's having to sit down, and he was wobbly. very, very hot work racing a motorcycle for an hour around here.
So there's very few riders left to pit. I think Josh Rees is maybe one of the remaining riders out there. It's bike 61. Just looking through the field. Brad Hughes has been in. Brad Hughes pitted early with that issue.
Brad Hughes had an issue earlier, yes. So no, he's still out there.
But just looking at the gap from the lead bike back to second, now down to 13 seconds. So we may see a challenge coming sometime during this stint.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. It must have been it was 16 seconds only a couple of laps ago, so that's interesting.
So now entering the second half of this race. This is where things really start to get interesting.
I think the Matthew Long 600 still hasn't pitted either, so that puts them moved up on the timing to third at this stage.
Jeremy Huddleston up the inside of Peter McEldowney now. Has taken over from Lockie Curtis, going through turn one. Coming up behind James Ryan, who's taken over from Peter Bellchambers, just there at the bottom of the hill. Blue flags waving. Now, here's Matthew Long. He's one of the last few to pit. It'd be interesting to have a look at the rear tyre and see how it's looking. A bit hard to tell from here, but they certainly...
just a little issue getting the fuel into the tank there.
They certainly do appear to be off the pace that they were running earlier. Jed Metcher. Let's get a lap time on Jed. He goes through a 54.31. So he's decided it's time to sprint.
Yeah, and Jeremy Huddleston a 55.89, Jason Spencer a 55.88. So that gap stays at around 12.6 seconds. Look at Brad Hughes there just going past. It looks like he's got some sort of hydration pack on his back there with the cords flapping around widely. So he's probably struggling to get a drink out of that.
Just looking at the gap from the lead bike back to bike 20 with Jed Metcher on board. It's now 2.1 laps down. So it's a lot of work for Jed Metcher to do.
Yeah, hell of a lot of work there. But, you know, it's still a long race, Chris. It's still a long race, so there's around 55 minutes to go. And anything can happen when it comes to endurance racing.
Well, Jed's actually not far off the back of Jeremy Huddleston now. As Jeremy comes down through the S's, you can see Jed Metcher chasing. So you'd think he's probably going to put reverse one of those laps at least, so it'll only be one lap down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now Marcus Delaney heading out on bike 23. He's taken over from Matthew Long. So it's Marcus's turn.
Yeah, very hard to come out of those pits too and go straight into full race pace.
It is hard, and John O'Hughes, he's another one to pit. He's coming in now, so that's 1 minute 6. That's great fuel economy out of the Triumph. And
Jono, another rider who is doing it solo, so he'll have to have a little breather and a stretch and a drink.
Yeah.
So no doubt he'll be feeling it.
He mentioned that was a personal challenge for him to try and do 2 hours solo.
Yeah, he's certainly got the staggers up again, all the wobbles, so being in that race crouch for that long, it's very, very hard on the knees and the thighs.
Just keep an eye on the lead bike here. Rod just heading up the hill. Yep. Jed Metcher now not very far behind, so Jed about to take one lap back.
Okay, and we've got probably the last bike to pit now, which is the Brad Hughes CBR 1000. Brad did have an issue earlier and did pit, so we're not sure what happened, but he's now in for his fuel stop. And another rider that's doing it solo. As you can see there, you've got that almost impossible to Chris while you're riding a race bike to get that drink nozzle into your mouth. It's hanging down the side there.
Yeah, that's right. I've experienced that myself. I thought I was well set up for an endurance race, and 2 laps in, the nozzle blew out.
Yep.
So I was carrying a couple of litres of fluid I couldn't drink.
Yeah, which isn't ideal.
Yeah,
And
just
back to the leader there, just coming down through the bottom of the hill there. So Jed Metz is right on the back of Jeremy Huddleston now.
Yeah, probably at the end of the back straight perhaps. There's a bit of slow traffic there they both need to navigate. Now, of course, Jeremy doesn't need to do anything special here. Jed Metz are up the inside of Jeremy into Calvin's.
Yeah, and that last lap was Jed Metz's fastest lap, 54.28 on lap 71.
So that will not unlap himself, but take one lap back. So just looking for the timing to come up. So that puts Jed Metcher 1.9 laps down and into third place.
Jason Spencer there, he's got the gap down to 11.5 seconds. Jeremy Huddleston, who's still the race leader, at 56.36 on that last lap, and Jason Spencer at 56.01. So still very close on the times. Jesse Woods has now taken the reins of the AKR R6 Yamaha, so they are still the leading 600 rider or team, and also fourth outright. So great effort so far from the Hamish Sellers Jesse Woods entry.
Yeah, that's a fantastic effort.
With all the shuffling around, have we seen Matt Carey, Josh Rees coming to the pit yet, Chris?
Well, I don't think, yes, right now.
Right now, okay.
So last bike to pit, I believe.
I would think so. So they've gone nearly an hour and 10 into the race, so that's a great effort.
Yeah, particularly on the body as well. So Josh has done a great job there.
See Matt Carey there, his helmet up, ready to get on the bike, so they'll get the fuel in and a bit of a rider debrief as they change over. Good effort from Josh.
Absolutely. Fantastic effort from Josh. Swapping notes quickly.
So that should be all the bikes have now pitted, changed riders, or where they're solo rider, they've refueled and had a drink and they're back out there.
Just looking at the gap from first to second is down to 11.7 seconds. So just trying to pick up the leader. There's Jeremy Huddleston just going to turn one. And here comes P2 over the start-finish line now. Jason Spencer on bike 72.
Okay, interestingly, Jason Spencer on the last lap, a 55.58. Jeremy Huddleston a 55.78. So still staying around the 11.5 second mark.
Yeah, Jez are making life hard for Jason Spencer. Jason trying to whittle down that lead because he's going to have to. They know Mike Jones is going to do the last stint.
Yes, I'm sure they've worked out exactly when to bring Jeremy Huddleston in and get Mike Jones back on the bike, but that'll mean a fuel top up as well, and that'll be crucial for the outcome of this race for those guys.
Jed Metcher last time through, 54.87. So running the sort of pace that Mike Jones was. Would have been interesting if they'd gone out together to start the race. So the lead 600 there now, Rod. Now everyone's pitted.
Yeah, it is the AKR entry. Hamish Sellers and Jesse Woods, they're fourth outright overall and the leading 600. Looks like we've got Jonathan Hughes, who's actually solo. He's moved into second in the 600, and that's the Matthew Long and Marcus Delaney entry in third in 600.
Yeah, we're worth keeping an eye on Marcus's times, because if Matthew was starting to drop off, it'd be interesting to see if it's a different... same thing with Marcus Delaney.
Yeah, well, I know, Marcus Delaney will be settling into the bike. Last lap around, 58.15. John O'Hughes just crossing the line there. He was a flat 57. So Jason Spencer there, a 55.5. So it's just, it's just chips, swings and roundabouts for the leaders.
Here comes Matt Carey taking over from the Josh Rees. for Josh Ree's machine, bike number 61. Settling in. Here we go, Marcus Delaney. So he just crosses the line. It's going to be intriguing to see how that 600 battle plays out. Jed Metcher still running around in the high 54s. And we've got Jason Wiley on board as well now on the 600 that son Chad was riding earlier.
Yeah, Jason on the last lap there was a 57.28, so certainly competitive times if they can keep that going. So I might just run through the order, Chris. Just update everybody. I'll just do it in outright positions, but it's Jeremy Huddleston, Mike Jones entry, still leading the race. Jason Spencer, Ted Collins in the second. Jed Metzer, Brett Simmons, the ZX10 in third. Then you got the first 600s, the AKR entry, Jesse Woods and Hamish Sellers. They're in fourth outright and first 600, of course. Jonathan Hughes going solo, doing a great job in fifth. Matthew Long, Marcus Delaney sixth. Ryan Taylor, Mitchell Hawksley in seventh. Matt Carey, Josh Rees entry eighth. Jason, or the Wiley father and son, Jason and Chad, they're coming through in ninth at this stage. James Ryan and Peter Belcham's rounding out the top 10.
Thanks, Rod. Just saw Jeremy Huddleston sit Jesse Woods up there into the top of two.
Okay.
As Jeremy finds his way through the field.
So interesting to see how Jesse goes. As we said, when they do the rider change and the fresh rider jumps on, it's going to take a couple of laps just to get up to speed for the bike.
That's a big move from Jed Metcher down the end of the straight. Got a bit tight, overtaking, who's that, Peter McEldowney. I was going to mention Jeremy Huddleston and Jesse Woods, ex-sparring partners in the Lights GP class.
Yes.
They know each other pretty well.
For many years. A bit of lap traffic there, so 57.21 for Jeremy Huddleston. So that gap is slowly getting down between the first two bikes on track.
Down to 9.5 seconds, but you've got to question if it's enough. Of course, as we keep saying, there's still plenty of time to run and anything can happen. These bikes are continuing to wear, the tyres are wearing out. And we know that in the case of the lead bike, it's at a pretty hot pace early on, so we don't know how the tyre's looking.
I'd say hot.
I reckon hot, and of course, Jeremy, while he's not running the pace of Mike Jones, is still running a good pace. High 55s, the tyre's still working hard.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting is to see how there's a bit of traffic that Jeremy Huddleston was caught up in before, so he did drop back to the 57s. So Jason Spencer there, he's got that. That's forced that gap down now to just under 9 seconds. So 55.6 for Jason Spencer, 56.3 for Jeremy Huddleston on the last lap. So it's getting tight at the front.
It certainly is. And then we've got potential extra fuel stops for the thousands. And who knows if they need to do a splash and dash at the end. Jed Metcher up the inside of Marcus Delaney into one.
Yeah, some of Jed Metzer's style around here, Chris, unmistakable.
It certainly is.
He's one of the only riders.
Oh, there's Jesse Woods running on at one. He got a bit loose under brakes, but it looks like he's going to hold it up, is he?
That's a shame.
It is, because they were running very strongly. But
they were leading the 600 category, so...
from what I can see, and it's... Yep, coming back on track. Excellent work. So that would have been devastating for that team.
Yeah, he's kept it upright, which is the main thing when you run across there. It's not a very nice journey, I can tell you. I don't know whether you've done that one before, Chris, but going on at turn one, you're going up over and then down a grassy sort of bank the other side, and it can be a bit dodgy, to say the least.
But once again, that's what happens in this race. brakes are getting hot, tyres are getting hot, riders are getting tired, and you'd never see mistakes from Jesse Woods, but there you go, there's one.
Well, Jesse is only pretty fresh on the bike though, so who knows? Could have just been a mental error. Could have been something with the bike, you just don't know.
That's the thing, but the race does produce those sort of errors. We see it year in, year out. And that's why we say you have to stay till the end, because anything can happen.
Still a long way to go. Still got 42 minutes.
So Jed Metcher is 1.8 laps down. So still a lot of work for him to do. Lead bike, course number 40, Jeremy Huddleston, with a lead of 7.7 seconds over bike 72, Jason Spencer.
Just going to have a look down the pits to see if we can see Mike Jones, if he's suited up.
Well, it's a really good question, because they pitted at about the 38-minute mark.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Chris, if we see Mike on the bike in the next 10 minutes. There'll be no doubt a strategy they're riding to, and with Mike being the faster rider, he's definitely going to be the one to bring it home. There's no doubt about they'll have to do another stop for fuel, so it's going to be a fill her up and go for it, I think. Won't be a splash and dash. It'll be probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and fill that tank right to the top and then go for it.
Well, 120 minutes is what they need, and we're at 119.2 right now.
Yes, I'm just trying to see if Mike Jones is down in the pits, ready to go. Can't quite see up there. Just looking for Mike's leathers, but that's definitely going to be their strategy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think I can see somebody down there doing some stretching. So it's well worth keeping an eye on bike 40. Where is it on track?
It must be over the back side of the circuit, I dare say.
Jesse Woods just coming through the chute on the lead 600. I believe they're still in the lead, aren't they? Yes, they are. Oh no, John Hughes.
Jonathan Hughes, who's riding solo on the Daytona 675.
How about that?
He's moved into the lead for outright 600. That's just phenomenal for Jono.
It is phenomenal.
Got to remember, Jono, I think Jono's now 54 years of age, so he's been racing bikes a long time, but, you know, your body doesn't lie. If you get out there and do it, it's very, very hard on it.
So here's Jeremy Huddleston at the end of the back straight. Not looking to come in this lap, so 1 minute 20 now. So every lap after this is gold in terms of not having to do a splash and dash at the end.
How long to go there, Chris? Was it 40, under the 40 minutes? Just about to click under to 39.
So. Of course, yes, it's 2 hours and 1 lap, so I was counting to 120 minutes, not 121 minutes.
So we certainly don't want to see get your strategy wrong with the 2 hours and run out on that last lap like we've seen before.
We have seen it before. Mike's still living that one down.
Jed Metzer wasting no time threading through slower traffic there into turn 1.
Yeah, Wade Schrader is...
another one doing it solo.
Yeah. Yep.
See Marcus Delaney there on the Matthew Long entry coming through, the 57.57.
So Jeremy Huddleston another lap without pitting, so this is really looking good for their team. 7 seconds is the gap.
7.4. Jeremy Huddleston was 0.3 quicker than Jason Spencer on that last lap, so that's a trend that hasn't been happening in the previous sort of 10 or 15 laps. So it's all going to come down to this this final rider change and fuel stop. Of course, you've got to bring it home, and you're going to be changing riders now because you're going to jump on a motorcycle with a extremely worn rear tyre, to say the least.
Well, that's the thing. It's probably the part of the race where tyre wear really plays the biggest part. Most tyres are good for the first 50 minutes, but getting the second hour, it's going to be a battle of the tyres. Jeremy Huddleston completes another lap, so
almost like emotion there. I'm not sure, but it looked like a bit of arm movement from Jeremy Huddleston as he went past the pit there.
Yeah, it's
like
careful.
He's got company with Jason Wiley there all over the back of him.
Yeah, and maybe that's Matt Carey in front of him. I can't quite pick it, but yep, just a critical time to be careful. They've done all the hard work. They just need to make sure they can finish it off. Jed Metcher's still not messing around, 54.96.
Comes James Ryan on the Peterbilt Chambers G6R 600 over the line. Just trying to check the lap time for James. Normally used to running an older bike, as you know, Chris, a FZR 1000.
Jeremy Huddleston indicating he's going to pick this lap.
Okay. Well, that'll leave, let's have a look at the time. So when he comes in, currently just over 37 seconds left in the race. So by the time he gets in and Mike Jones jumps on with it refueled, there's going to be around 35 minutes to go.
So clean pit stop is what they'll be looking for. Get Mike out on the bike and settle again, and you'd say from there it's his to lose.
You'd imagine so. But you know, the bike in second place, Jason Spencer entry, they'll have to stop and do a rider change or a fuel top up at least as well. So here we go. Here's the leading bike coming into the pits. Do the stop and foot dab within the cones. So that's a clean, legal pit stop at this stage.
Bit of a misfire there from the R1. I think it's probably on the dregs of the fuel tank. Hopefully it starts okay.
I'll follow the procedure as the boys are doing it.
Oh, don't do that though, Mustard. You've got to turn the fuel valve off before you pick it up.
Yeah, you don't want to be wasting fuel, that's for sure. So crucial pit stop here for the lead bike. That moves the Jason Spencer entry into the lead of the race. And that the Jed Metzer entries, that's now moved up to third position outright, Chris. So they're making time every lap on track, getting closer to the front. Jonathan Hughes still holding out P1 for 600 in fourth position.
Okay, the R1 struggling to fire, and I think I was right. It must have been right on empty.
Okay, well, here we go. Reigning Australian Superbike champion Mike Jones is back on bike number 40. Let's see what Mike can do to try to bring it home.
I don't think they could have got much more out of that ride. It was backfiring, and I think Jeremy Huddleston had a problem even getting into the pits with that.
Yes, certainly milked it for everything they could get out of it by the look of it.
So with how much remaining?
The question is, have they got enough fuel in it to get them through to the end?
34 minutes. I think pretty safe from here, because first stint, 38 minutes they got out of the tank. So providing it's full.
Provided you got the strategy right with the right amount of litres going in, and it was chock-a-block to the top, they should be okay, but you never know.
And look, assuming they get to the end, I'd be thinking this is most likely going to be a race record for a number of laps, because both Mike and Jezra have been running a very strong pace. But that's a big assuming, because we do see a lot of drama late in this race.
Yeah, we certainly do.
So Mike Jones currently 1.1 laps down on Jason Spencer, but of course Jason will have to pit again, and it's unlikely that Mike Jones will have to pit again.
Yes, you'd imagine it's unlikely.
So what we don't really know until everyone's done their last pit stop how
and of course the majority of the 600 field, they won't be pit stopping again, so they've done their rider change and fuel stop. That's the advantage that you do have with the 600cc bike here, is it generally can do the hour quite easily on a tank of fuel.
So it'll be interesting to see what sort of lap time Mike runs now. The bike having done another stint on those tyres, so I'd be curious to know what sort of shape they're in.
Yeah, well, he no doubt have to just feel it out, but a 55.8 for the first flying lap there. 93 laps down for Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston, 94 for the Jason Spencer, Ted Collins entry. And it's going to be watching this lap time, crucial to see how it develops.
I'll tell you what, the standout for me is bike in P4, Jonathan Hughes riding solo on the Daytona 675. Also happens to be an employee of event sponsor, Motorworks Motorcycles, so I'm sure that will be big news within the shop with Motorworks. That'd be fantastic to see Jezza get up and take one of the trophies.
Yeah, fantastic. Still a long way to go, but and you know, he's got to fight that fatigue, but doing it solo, dare say it can't be easy.
Oh, it'd be horrible. I can't imagine how he's feeling at the moment. Speaking of Jono, he's just crossing the line at the moment. Don't know how the legs are feeling. He's still managing to move, so that's something.
Yeah, he's getting off the bike, so he's got some movement there in the thighs. Be interesting to go into Motorworks tomorrow and see how, well, if he's at work tomorrow, but to see how he's moving, no doubt slowly.
Yeah. Marcus Delaney about to cross the line on bike 23 with Wade Schrader, bike 420 right behind him. So quick run through the field. Bike 72 with Jason Spencer on board is currently leading. 1.1 laps up on Mike Jones. Of course, bike 72 still has to pit. Then we're back to bike 20, Jed Metcher, 1.3 laps down. First of the 600s in P4, Jonathan Hughes. Then the Jesse Woods, Hamish Sellers teaming at P5. Then Matthew Long, Marcus Delaney, Ryan Taylor and Mitchell Hawksley in P7. Jason Wiley and Chad Wiley in P8. Matt Carey and Josh Rees in P9. James Ryan and Peter Bellchambers in P10. Lockie Curtis and Peter McEldowney in P11, Brad Hughes P12 and Wade Schrader on bike 420 in P13.
Talking about Wade Schrader, he's just having a bit of a look at Marcus Delaney here. Has caught up to him with the superior straight line speed of the R1, but getting past is never easy on the windier part of the circuit here, through 1 through to 5.
Mike Jones just threading his way through some lap traffic there into turn 1.
To see what sort of times Mike's the 55.13 there, so I'd say he's still finding his way, but yeah, it's definitely quite a bit of tyre wear now on the rear tyre. He won't be running those 53s that we saw in the first hour, first 40 minutes. You're
absolutely right, Rod, but I also think that Mike will know exactly how the race is playing out and what he needs to do. The smart thing for him to do now would be conserve fuel, conserve the tyre, and to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. He'd know that you know, he's just got to bring it home from here, because knowing that the bike currently leading the race will have to stop and refuel at some stage.
To take any risks now would, well, it's just not worth doing. He just has to...
As you can see, he's trying. Mike Jones here is catching Jason Spencer's right in front of him, so he's 1 lap down. So I'm sure he'd like to unlap himself. Always handy just in case there's an incident.
That's likely to happen pretty soon.
It's likely to happen very soon. Yes. Jason Spencer, the previous lap, a 56.81. Mike Jones a 55.87. So about a second a lap difference at this stage.
Now, what's interesting here is Jonathan Hughes is starting to come under pressure from Jesse Woods.
Yeah,
so
Jesse
the battle
Woods.
of the 600s coming down through the S's at the moment.
And that, no doubt, would be superior fitness from Jesse, having being in a team of 2. Jono's been out there since the start. So there's Mike Jones unlapping himself there up the inside of Jason Spencer. Just ahead of him now is Jason Wiley, and must be, is that Wade Schrader?
I think it is Wade Schrader, yes. It is.
Is it Wade?
Oh, Mike wants to be pretty careful here in the lap traffic.
Yeah, there's plenty of time still. No need to do anything rash at this point.
John Hughes still holding off Jesse Woods, but feel like it's a matter of time. As you said, Jesse's going to be a lot fresher than John Hughes.
Yeah, Mike Jones now comfortably moved ahead of that group, and also Jason Spencer following along with Mike Jones, who moved past those two bikes in the front as well. Yes, it is Wade Schrader.
Let's look at the Matthew Long Marcus Delaney bike 23. Slipped into third place in the 600 class, so it does make you wonder if they're struggling with a little issue on their bike. They've shown great pace all weekend. It'd be interesting to know what it is, but they're not in the hunt for the lead at the moment. The lead riders in the 600 class are going through turn one at the moment. John Hughes and Jesse Woods.
Mike Jones cleanly through the lap traffic. Jason Spencer there is getting held up a little bit. It's not ideal for where he wants to be. But Peter McEldowney there. And look, Jason Wiley coming through there. Look out.
Now, what you may have missed there, Rod, is Jason Spencer. Up the inside of Jason Wiley.
It's a bit of Jason Spencer. The two Jasons. This we've seen in the sprint races.
Commentator's nightmare.
Oh, Jason Wiley, of course. In the past, normally runs a Ducati Seton bike, so here he is on a 600, but that was a pretty brave move from Jason. We know that he's not scared on the brakes, and once again proved it there.
What you might have missed there, Rod, is Jason Spencer indicating it's time to pit.
Okay.
So this is going to be interesting. Take note of whether or not they're looking to change a tyre. They do have wheels down there, so I'd be thinking the sort of pace that Jace is running, they're not looking to change the tyre, but actually he's not going to pit this lap, but it's got to be coming up. Yep, indicates again.
Here we go again, the two Jasons. Jason Wiley here into turn two, Chris. Have a look at this.
Yeah, not a lot of...
He's not scared.
He's not a lot of reason to overtake either, because he's not the...
It's going to be extremely hard for Jason Wiley to get away from Jason Spencer, but he's trying to get up the inside there. I don't know why.
Poor old Jason Spencer's probably thinking, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, stop this. Go on, go away. It's clearly a big difference in speed in a straight line between the 1000cc Honda and the 600 Suzuki. But anyway, you'll never, as we know with Mr. Wiley, he will never stop trying.
Lead change in the 600 class. Jesse Woods just got through on Jono Hughes.
Okay.
That's probably going to help Jono, because if your fatigue is setting in, now he's got a bike in front of him to follow. And
yes, that'll certainly help. It'll take his mind off the pain he's probably feeling right now. Maybe.
Well, it's going to help him. It's always nice to have another bike as a reference. Now, bike coming into pit, that's Peter McEldowney on bike 82. He'll be
handing back over to
Lockie Curtis.
Young Lockie.
.24 minutes remaining.
Okay.
Jono Hughes hanging on nicely to the back of Jesse Woods.
Oh, he's having a look up the inside there.
He doesn't need to do anything yet.
No, there's still 24 minutes to go.
Not the last lap. Maybe he's delirious.
Yeah, you probably... I'm sure you're feeling quite hot under the visor at the moment.
Jason Wiley up the inside of Marcus Delaney, like Marcus was on a slowdown lap. They certainly seem to be having some problems with that 23 machine.
And is that Jed Metzer there just going around the inside of Jason Spencer? Looks like it.
Yes.
What sort of times is Jed Metzer still doing on that bike? He's a 55.19 on the last lap. Mike Jones at 54.99. Jason Spencer at 56.53. But Yeah, John O'Hughes there. He's definitely woken up.
Mike Jones goes through.
Looks like the pit board here for Jason Spencer saying in, I think.
Yep.
I can see.
54.81 for Mike Jones. So it would appear that he's still getting good performance out of those tyres.
No, I don't think it did say in. I think it was just unless they're coming over to prepare for a rider change. I think there's Ted Collins. Yes, I can see Ted Collins down there, Chris. Helmet up. Helmet on, I should say. So no doubt we'll see them coming in on the next lap round.
So the quickest bikes on track, Mike Jones and Jed Metcher, still lapping flat 55. So that would tell you that they're still getting some pretty good tyre performance very late in the race. That's promising for the chances of making it through the flag without issues.
Bit of lap traffic for Mike Jones here as he comes through turn 1. Jed Metzer still heading around very nicely in the 54s. 54.81 for Jed and a 54.85 for Mike.
And here we are. Jason Spencer's just pitting, about to hand over to Ted Collins. So let's have a look at this pit stop.
Rider off.
Okay, steps off. A little bit proppy, but looks okay.
Yep, get the fuel in. Let's get her ready to go.
As the lead bike goes past.
Okay, that puts the Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston entry back into the race lead. What will be interesting to see is how much of a gap they can put on P2. And also, what's going to be interesting, Chris, is the Jed Metzer, Brett Simmons entry. How far will they get on their allocated fuel they've got so far? We'll have to see them do a splash at the end, I'm sure. The question is, do they put Brett back on the bike, or that Jed's been a little bit quicker today, so do they leave Jed on there and just get some fuel in?
Well, I'd be thinking now that Brett's familiar with it, with another knee slider, he might be fine. But I just wonder if there's something else amiss, because I wouldn't have thought losing a knee slider would cost you 3 seconds a lap or whatever it was. We'll have to find out later, because I don't know the answer to that.
Once again, the battle for the 600s there, just heading into turn 1.
It's looking like running down to the wire.
It's been the same for the past 5 laps. So,
okay, Jed Metcher entering the pits. So we're about to have our question answered. Didn't come to a complete stop. I don't know if the official saw that. Let's hope for his sake they didn't.
Okay, so are we going to see Brett Simmons jumping back on, or are we going to see Jed Metzer staying on the bike?
I'm thinking it may be Jed. He's still there standing at the bike.
I can't see Brett Simmons down there ready to go, so maybe it's...
As Mike Jones
comes
goes
across
around
the start
again.
finish line again, so...
And the 600 battle rages on. Jono Hughes is not giving this up by any shot.
No, this is great for Jono, like doing it solo, having Jesse Woods pass him. And now he's just getting a tow he's been getting towed now for the past 6 laps. And it's a great way to pass the time, because, he'd be feeling it no doubt doing it solo.
Gotta say, if Jono was to win this 600 class, what a massive achievement that would be.
Amazing, but, you'd have to take your hat off to him. 54 years of age.
I mean, don't forget that he's riding solo. He's got the likes of Ryan Taylor and
He's
Mitch
actually
Hawksley.
challenging here for the lead. He's for the 600 lead, that is.
He's got the likes of Ryan Taylor, multiple Victorian Supersport champion, ex-ASBK rider, current state 600 champion Mitch Hawksley, Jesse Woods.
Very accomplished, certainly lights rider.
Absolutely.
So, and has ridden ASBK in lights, or the 300s.
If he well, he's already done more than enough to be super impressive, but if he were to win it, it'd just be a massive achievement.
Yeah, it'd be amazing for Jono if he does. It's definitely, look at the speed that bike's got. That Triumph's no slouch in a straight line. And if you look now, they're just heading out of Suckers down onto Calvin, so about to enter the back straight. Have a look here, Chris, how much speed that Triumph's got down the back straight. It's definitely not slow. You'll be looking up the inside of Jesse here. Look at this.
You're absolutely right.
Look at that. It's got plenty of straight line legs on the R6.
But not compared to the ZX10 ranging up behind them. So hopefully Jed's not going to upset them too much. Oh, down the inside, both bikes. Wow. Jed's on a mission.
Wow, Jed
not messing around at all.
No.
You can see the back end of the ZX10 protesting under power, coming out of turn 1.
Once we get a couple of laps in, it'll be interesting to see exactly where the front 3 or 4 have shuffled into. So it's still showing the Ted Collins now back on the bike. He's in second place. Interesting, let's have a look at the gap from Mike Jones on the last lap at 55.10. Ted Collins at 56.4 and Jed Metzer at 54.6.
So 35 seconds the gap between P1 and P2.
And Jed Metzer's 1.2 laps down at this point.
In fact, the 600 of Jesse Woods and Jono Hughes holding down P4 and P5 outright.
And Jono Hughes there on the 675 Daytona, once again looking up the inside of Jesse Woods. Nothing between them for the last 7 or 8 laps now. Just heading up the hill. Once again, that Triumph 675, either it's gearing or tuning on the bike, but it's got a lot more punch off the bottom of the hill than the R6 ahead of it.
It makes you wonder if Jesse's pulled the right rein by overtaking Jono, because he's doing the donkey work now and leading the pair around.
Jono's all over him here. Look at this. And Jono Hughes for 600 gong honours has just gone back into the lead of 600s.
Well, he must be feeling pretty strong, because what do we got left? We've got 15 minutes left, and he's got to feel like he can hold.
This is Herculean.
It is. It's a massive job. Jono Hughes running P4 outright, solo on a Triumph 675.
Doing a great job. Amazing.
Now it's going to be up to what Jesse Woods can do.
Well, clearly after Jesse caught and passed Jono, he must have thought, okay, he's had a good look at him for the last 8 laps, and he must feel he's got the pace to get away, and at this point he is.
I'm just so impressed, not just with his ride, but with his stamina, that he's still putting in so hard at this stage of the race.
Yes, absolutely. You know, we have seen Jono. He's like fine wine, isn't he? He's got better with age. he's done over the last couple of years. He's got faster and he's beaten his PB over the last couple of years. Each year, basically, he's gone quicker than he's ever been. So, but there's nothing in it. Here they come again, around the start-finish stripe again. Basically, about 10 bike lengths between the two.
I think Jono's maybe gapped Jesse a little bit. What was the last lap time?
Just looking at coming around the start-finish. Here's Marcus Delaney there on the 600.
With Ryan Taylor behind him.
Ryan Taylor's caught up to Marcus Delaney, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. And that's a battle for third position on the podium for 600 here.
It is, so there's plenty going on there.
Once again, Mike Jones crosses the start-finish line, a 54.95 for Mike. That gap to the second place now at the 38.2 seconds, so comfortable margin there, Chris, to maintain over the next 15 or so minutes.
So at this stage, it won't look like any of the 600s will place in the superbike class, because the leading 3 bikes, being Mike Jones, Ted Collins, and Brett Simmons of Jed Metzer.
Yep.
They're the top 3, and with 13 minutes remaining, unless anyone needs to pit, and that can happen, there can certainly be a splash and dash at the end.
It certainly can. We have seen it before. We've seen bikes come in with literally in the last 5 minutes for 2 or 3 litres to go in and out again. So
Mike Jones, he goes through at a 55.26.
Just looking at on screen, we've got riders heading up the hill into Suckers, as we call it. It's on the, if you're watching on the monitor there on the Duff TV, it doesn't really do that corner justice. It's completely blind entry. You're coming up there at well over 160 kilometres an hour on a big bike, and very hard braking and completely blind turning. It's a great corner. And on the exit, the camber does roll away, so it can catch you out a little bit if you're new to the track.
Yeah, you just missed something there, Rod.
Yep.
Jesse Wood's back in front of Jono Hughes.
Okay.
So the battle is on in the 600 class. Coming down through turn 2 at the moment. So can Jono Hughes respond? That's what I say. This race runs to the wire. It's always throws in a few curveballs at the end.
See where the Matthew Long entry in third. They're not too far behind. They're on the same lap as the two ahead in the 600. They're 12.6 seconds back. Looks like Ryan Taylor there is challenging all over the back of Marcus Delaney. Have we had a change here? What's going on? Let's just see who's this coming around.
No, Jesse Wood still holding off Jono Hughes as they come through the shoot over the finish line. So I actually thought Jono had a bit of extra pace, but I think your comment before that Jesse Woods woke up a little bit as Jono came past.
Yeah, I think each rider's using the other one as a carrot and a bit of a rest. I'll follow you, you follow me, but I think push comes to shove here at the end of the race. I think I reckon the speed of the 675 down that back straight's potentially going to win him the race if he's right there. Once again, we'll see a dress rehearsal here. Chris, it's coming onto Calvin's now, or coming through Calvin's onto the main straight for these two. Once again, let's see if the 675's got that straight line speed. It looks absolutely a line ball between the two bikes.
Both pretty good under brakes. No, Jono doesn't give an inch. It might come down to just who's the bravest.
It's going to be a battle of the brakes, isn't it?
So down to 11 minutes.
Jason Miley there is doing well. He's all over the back of the Ted Collins entry again.
Mike Jones, 55.42, and Ted Collins last time through, 56.5. So about a second a lap difference between them. So the lead extending, and at that sort of pace, 55.4, you'd be thinking that Mike's managing it rather than pushing.
It's a smart thing to do with around 10-11 minutes to go. Just about to click into the just under 10 minutes left. Here we go, 9 minutes 55.
Jono Hughes still all over the back of Jesse Woods. This is where the contest is in the 600 class.
And so far, the leading bike, the Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston entry, and also the Ted Collins, Jason Spence entry have done 118 laps, so possibly going to be knocking on 130 laps, or maybe just under, maybe 128. Certainly a big effort.
So bike 3, Brett Simmons and Jed Metcher still 1.1 laps down, despite Jed still lapping in the 54s. Fastest bike on track, 54.3 last lap.
For Jed Metzer?
Yep,
Wow.
0.3 of a second off a lap record with 9 minutes to run. So really, put your hands together for Jed Metcher. What an effort. The bike he doesn't know.
No, 53 flats a lap record, Chris. 54.3, he's at 1.3
1.3, beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Well, I'd still put my hands together for him. I think that's
still
a massive...
Considering the amount of laps on the tyre, it's a very, very great effort.
Just coming through right now. He goes through at a 54.86. interesting that Lockie Curtis, Peter McEldowney have dropped down to P13. I haven't really noticed what's gone wrong there. They're looking pretty strong early on. James Ryan up the inside of... Oh, got a little bit tight to turn one. He's flying through the traffic, actually.
Yeah, James has always been strong into two. It's a part of the circuit he likes. It's when he races the historic bike gifts at 1000, he's very good through that part of the track.
Well, looks like Jesse Wood starting to eke out a bit of the margin over Jono Hughes, coming down through turn 2 at the moment.
Yes, this could be telltale for Jono. Whether he's waving the flag, he's had enough.
Yeah, 7 minutes to run.
Whether he's got anything left in the tank, as far as not the fuel tank, but his tank. Doing a solo effort, Herculean effort, I would say. It's just amazing to see riders doing this all on their own.
Yes, it could just be that at this stage the fatigue has started to play out.
He's probably not even feeling his legs at the moment.
58.32 last time round, so we know how much faster Jono is than that when he's fresh. So you'd expect it's just pure fatigue setting in. Ted Collins about to join them. Like 72.
Still a fair battle on the top of the just riders going through suckers there. James Ryan still leading that group of 3.
What's interesting here is that Mike Jones is not far behind putting a lap on the field.
Okay.
He's got almost a 50-second gap on Ted Collins, so Ted's in sight.
Right.
Now with 6 minutes remaining, that would underline a victory, having a whole lap on the field.
So it looks like Wade Schrader has found his way back past James Ryan. Let's see if into turn 2 James Ryan does what he did on the previous lap here. Here we go.
He does indeed.
He does exactly that. He's got that, and he's running a little bit wide. Looks like Wade Schrader there's. Looks like they were almost had to clash handlebars from our angle, but I'm sure there's plenty of room there. So just looking for what you were saying, Chris. Ted Collins is just going down through turn 2, dropping down through the S's, and Mike Jones also now just dropping down through the S's, so not far behind on track.
Well, second per lap difference in lap time. We've got 5 laps remaining. That's 5 seconds, and the gap is about 10 seconds. Should be challenging, but it depends on lap traffic as well. Mike Jones being balked there, coming on to the back straight.
He's got Jason Wiley to contend with, who no doubt will try and go back past Mike on the brakes here.
Meanwhile, Ted Collins gets past Jesse Woods, but visually you can see the gap closing. Look, I think it's doable.
I'd say it probably is. Well, the lap times will sort of start telling us. Let's have a look at Mike Jones. It was 1.6 seconds quicker on the last lap than Ted. Both had to contend with lap traffic. Once again, Jed Menzer 54.8, so he's still the fastest rider on track at this late stage in the race. We've got 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, which is approximately 5 laps. It's 2 hours plus 1 lap, so
I think
it's getting very close, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. They're both on the back straight as we speak.
1.6 seconds on the last lap.
So that would be absolutely huge.
Here comes Mike Jones there. Just got to get... Is he going to try and get past the AKR entry there at Jesse Woods?
Over the start finish line, I expect. Use the extra CCs of the R1. Oh, it's tight though.
It is very tight. That's a bit of a character dangle there, isn't it?
Oh, poor old Jono Hughes is getting a bit roughed up now.
Yeah, he's no doubt feeling it. Jesse Woods is using... you can see Jono there a little bit wide, so he's probably seeing double by now. I'd say potentially quite dehydrated. And also there wide at the bottom of the hill, so definitely feeling the effects of doing such a long race.
So looking for our leader. Should be about coming onto the back straight, I think. Yep, challenge on for Mike to unlap himself, and there it is. So not unlap himself, put another lap on the field, yeah. Wow, that's a convincing performance so far.
That's amazing.
So with 3 minutes remaining, and a 54.86 for Mike Jones.
And a 57.3 for Ted. So just a battle of tyres there at the end, Chris. What tyre you got left in the bike to try to get a lap time?
Well, it could well be. Of course, everyone knows the talent and ability of Mike Jones, and he's demonstrated it here today.
So just looking for Jesse Woods to see where the leading 600 rider is.
Down straight. Yeah, nice gap now over John O'Hughes.
He's definitely broken John O'Hughes now. He's got that lead in the 600s now out to about maybe 6 or 7 seconds, I'd say.
So our time certainly whittling down now, Rod.
Yes.
1 minute 54 remaining.
This is interesting. The timing is now showing Jet Metzer is caught and passed for second place, Ted Collins. So Jet's been running 54s, 54.29 on that last lap. Ted Collins a mid 57. So Jed's been running very competitive times. Yes.
Well, that'd be...
Jed Metzer just Mike Jones and Jed Metzer there, just passing.
I'll tell you what, Jed is not backing off. He can see Mike Jones up in front of him.
He can.
But he decided he wants a bit of it.
He wants to get on the same lap. He's still a lap down on Mike Jones.
Well, what an amazing effort that'd be from Jed Metzer. And Mike Jones, with a bit of traffic, probably doesn't realise he's about to get the company of
Jed Metzer.
Metzer.
Jed's still leg dangling out there, turning into suckers, so typical Jed style.
Last lap board being ready by the looks of it.
Wow,
so
here we go.
What's Jed going to do? He wants to be careful not mixing it up with the leader on the last lap and cause any issues. I'm sure he has more than enough experience for that.
Yeah, it's getting very busy at the end of the straight there. We've got 5 bikes there, all at different parts of the race,
Jed
of course.
Pushing his way through, so he certainly wants a bit of the action. Last lap board now for race leader Mike Jones.
Yes, and I'd say Jed Metz is definitely wanting to just put that pass on for bragging rights.
He is, and he will brag about it too. He'll certainly let Mike know.
So we're on the last lap, and Mike would possibly panic, maybe think, oh, I've been lapped. But I'm sure he knows exactly where he is, and he's got a comfortable gap over Jed.
He's actually gapped him a little bit there. He's got a nice drive up the hill. But last lap for race leader, Mike Jones.
Yeah, Jed Metzer's going to have a go here, Chris. Have a look at this.
No, not close enough, but...
he's got the leg out dangling there, but... well, here we go. Here's the Baskerville 2 hour coming to Jed Metzer. Just
for fun. But race winner, Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston.
Hey, well done, boys. Great effort from Jed Metzer, Brett Simmons to come through for second. That's a fantastic comeback through the field for Jed Metzer.
I just wonder if Jed needs to complete that lap. His race is still live, I think. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but he must be careful because...
I'm not sure how they call it.
The checkered flag went for Mike, not for Jed. No, I don't know. That's one for race control.
Well, when Jed Metz actually was crossing the line, he saw the checkered flag was waving, so I don't know how they worked that out. So obviously waiting for Mike, but he would have seen that as well. So it's a hard one to call. But he clearly was in second place.
Well, he certainly knew he wasn't in the lead bike and knew who the checkered flag was for. So
Okay, well,
I don't know.
there it is.
A bit more controversy for the 2 hour.
Well, maybe, but I don't think so. But there we go, Chris. Another 2 hour event run and done.
As I said, I think there's every chance that will be a record number of laps because the pace that lead team run was pretty amazing.
130 laps for Mike Jones, Jeremy Huddleston.
Then we have Jed Metcher, Brett Simmons as bike 2, Ted Collins, Jason Spencer, bike 3, and that'll be the superbike placings. Then first at the 600s, Jesse Woods.
Chip Sellers, Jonathan Hughes. No, they've interestingly they've slotted. Could change that round there, Chris.
Well, maybe I was right. I don't know. We're only commentators, but I'll just be thinking that Jed needed to be careful there. That'll be up for, as I say, the Clark, of course, and Stewart to consider. Well, certainly that's the way the results are showing.
Yeah, Mike Jones taking the win. Ted Collins, Jason Spencer coming in second. So I guess that's something for them to discuss.
Yes, but to finish off there, P4, Jesse Woods, first of the 600s, then John Hughes riding solo, and then Matthew Long and Marcus Delaney will round out the 600 field. Then in P7, Ryan Taylor and Mitchell Hawksley. P8, Jason Wiley and son Chad Wiley. P9, great effort from Matt Carey and Josh Rees. P10, James Ryan and Peter Bellchambers. P11, Brad Hughes, who had that early issue, pitted very soon in the race. P12, Wade Schrader. P13, Lockie Curtis, Peter McEldowney. So Rod, that's a wrap. Another Motorworks Michelin 2 hour run and one. Always
run and done, run and one.
That's it. Always a lot of fun. Before we sign off, again, thanks to our sponsors, Motorworks Motorcycles, Michelin Tyres. Thanks for your support. Thanks all our crew that put today together. I hope everyone on the hill enjoyed it. It's we think it's a great event, and we're just trying to continue to build it and make motorcycle racing even bigger than it already is here in Tassie. So look, from us, Rod, thank you for today. It's always fun commentating with you.
Yeah, thanks Chris, done a great job. And yeah, let's go down and have a sausage and a beer and enjoy the celebrations.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone. As I say, a lot to get through. To start off is not a traditional award, but something that was very, very generously offered and donated by Tony Oliver and his wife Marg. They wanted us to offer or select several riders for an encouragement award today, and the spirit of the award was that they show strong community spirit. They're always there, and they love their racing. They support other people. And they need a little bit of a hand occasionally. And we have a $100 voucher and 2 toolkits. So the selection today, the $100 voucher went to David Coward. We've got a couple of toolkits. The first one to Ryan Chen. Had to leave? All right. And the third one, a very welcome visitor from Sydney this weekend, Eric Batt. Okay, moving on to the sprint race
medals for today. First of all, the Tassie Juniors. In third place, Ava Connell. Second place, Gus O'Halloran. And in first place, what a sensational ride this weekend from David Coward. I should say, if any of the first place winners want to say a few words, you are most welcome. So, David. All right. All right, thanks, Dad. Moving on to Tas Superbike. In third place, Brad Hughes. Still here?
You come and get it.
Oh, and that I said a hat. Ah, okay.
Well done.
Second place, Ted Collins. And in first place, a clean sweep, Mike Jones. Okay, Tas Supersport. Third place, John O'Hughes. Second place, Jesse Woods. And in first place, super impressive all weekend, Matty Long. Formula Baskerville certainly produced some great racing this weekend, particularly the lead through, really entertaining for us. Third place, Jaden Davey Bodell. Second place, Harley Phipps. And in first place, Sam Delaney. Golden Era up to 500. Third place, Tony Oliver. Second place, Julian Winlow. Gone? And in first place, David Dick.
No, thanks to everybody. It's been a great weekend. It's my first proper race weekend, so I'm super happy. Don't know what to say. Thank you very much. Blown away. Cheers.
Good work. Moving on to Formula 3. In third place, Jeremy Archer. Second place, James Abey. And in first place, Dale Madden. Okay, pre-modern supersport. Third place, Martin Long. Second place, Matthew Coward. Third place, Joe Browning. And Joe. I'll get you up here one day. Pre-modern Open or Superbike. Third place, Karen Webb. No, you're going to say something. Second place, Don Fenton. There he is. And in first place, without a doubt, the best I've ever seen this guy ride, Stuart Bug.
I'd like to thank all the club and officials and everyone putting on a great event this weekend, and all the mainlanders coming down. It's been really good. And thanks, Donnie. I'll try and keep up with this thing. It's going fast.
Good work, mate. Okay, moving on to sidecars, making a very welcome return to Baskerville again. Third place, Robbie Wilson, Jeremy Archer. Second place, Rob Warren, Harley Phipps. And in first place, another clean sweep for the day, Daryl Rayner, Kath Warren.
Thank you. I don't know. What have I got to say? No 7-second delay. All right then. Man, I've got to thank you guys in the committee for putting on this event, inviting us down. Wish we had more sidecars, but yeah, it's still a work in progress. Flag marshals, without you guys, none of us get the race. So I think everyone should give the committee and flaggies a round of applause. Yeah. And to Kathy, what an awesome job after chucking her out last weekend. Still got injuries. Yeah, like can't ask for a better passenger. Bloody awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Lights GP, third place, Merrick von Batush. Second place, welcome return to form, Mark de Jong. Good work, mate.
I will say something.
Okay.
I know it's only second, but I do want to quickly say thank you to my wife Emma, who I drag out every Sunday and puts up with me trying to get these things. Also to the organising committee and everyone else that made this such an awesome event. Jezza Huddleston and Reece Tan for pushing me along this year. I've finally gotten back, so thank you all.
And in first place, Liam Waters. He said, can you thank Dad for me? Okay, lights production. Third place, Nick Cargo. Second place, Brodie Curtis. And in first place, without a doubt, very, very impressive all weekend, Dane Griggs.
Well, thanks for those kind words. Nobody's ever said that before. Look, I'd just like to thank everybody for turning up and the mainlanders for coming over, for just making this event that little bit extra special. Yeah, go the mainlanders. And just everyone involved with this event. It's just fantastic. I love it. Thank you.
Awesome work. Thank you. Okay, into the first of our feature races. The Golden Oldies Cup I thought was absolutely spectacular today. I really hope all of you enjoyed watching it, and particularly those in it enjoyed riding it. Third place, Daniel Briggs.
I'd just like to thank Boyd. I didn't have a bike after Friday, blew it up, and Boyd offered up his SV without even thinking about it. So I'd like to thank Boyd especially.
Thanks, Briggsy. Second place, Don Fenton. And I think it was almost the last to first. Missed out by a whisker.
I'd just like to thank the officials. I want to say, Michael and Jeff Webb, thank you very much for your support this year.
Good one, Don. Thank you. In the first place, Peter McEldanny.
Thanks a lot. Really didn't expect this. Massive thanks to Jeff and Michael Webb. They've given me a bike to ride, which is, just couldn't thank them enough. Like to thank the sponsors, Kingston Panel and Paint, Eastern Panel and Paint, Launceston Roof and Guttering, Bikeworks, and massive thanks to Lockie Curtis and his family for letting me have a crack at the 2 hour today. And thanks to all the officials and flaggies for putting on such a great effort.
Thanks very much, Peter. Now the Junior Cup. Third place, Jet Pryor. Well done, Jet. In second place, unfortunately, just pipped on the line, was Ava Connell. And in first place, and this one was a last to first, Isaac Simmons.
Thanks, Granddad, for putting my bike together when I crashed yesterday, and Dad for letting me use new tyres for today.
So the Sidecar Cup. Third place, Robbie Wilson, Jeremy Archer. Oh. Second place, Lindsay Seabrook, Irene Bakshi. Well done. You say something? Okay. And in first place, Daryl Rayner, Kathy Warren.
Yeah, I don't think we actually finished first. We got third.
You right about that?
Yes. positively. But yeah, I mean, one thing I did forget to say, it would be remiss of me to not thank our sidecar family in Tasmania. Awesome bunch of people. Great spending time, and we'll be back. Thank you.
Just on that, I think you may actually be right. So let's sort that out in a moment. So apologies for that. Absolutely. You're too honest. Okay, moving on to the Lights 20 lapper. Firstly, in the GP class, in third place was Reese Tan. Yeah. There we do. Hang around, Reese, if you can. In second place, Aaron Wade. And in first place, Liam Waters. Yeah, absolutely.
First off, I'd like to say a massive thank you to the club. This is always a great event. I love coming down. Big thank you to Jezza, Mark, the whole team, Damien. You know, they helped me out a lot this weekend. I binned it in, race 3 this weekend. They built my bike. I did nothing. Big thank you to Dad as well. He does everything. But I would have loved to have shared the podium with Taryn, but unfortunately he binned it. And but you know, the pace he had this weekend was insane. I don't know if I could keep up with him, but you know, thank you. And also well done to Mike and Jezza for winning the 2 hour. Thank you.
We'll just do the other part of the lights and then we'll do a shared celebration if you like. Yep, cool. So, lights production in third place, Daniel Briggs. No, we're going to do one together. One bottle together? No, we've got one each.
I'd just like to thank Jeff Webb as well for lending me his Proddy bike. Without them, I wouldn't be on the grid today. I also want to send my regards to Garth. I feel bad for our collision in our first race for the day. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery.
Thanks, Briggsy. In second place, Dane Griggs. And in first place, Brodie Curtis.
Firstly, I think we'd like to thank my mum, dad, Pop, my sponsors, Underpinning, PMG and Cycle World and the club for an awesome weekend.
Awesome, mate. All right, I might get out of the way. Let you guys to it and some photos.
Non-A grade super sport.
Cool.
They don't get checked, mate.
Yes, yeah, we've got a bottle for them to do. If they don't bother, they should get one. Yeah.
So you go put non-A grade super sport.
Yep.
2 hour night.
Just check with Jazz to make sure we've got enough bottles.
Enough bottles.
Good one, thanks. Okay, moving on to the 2 hour. A couple of new awards this year include top finishing team that does not include an A grade rider. So awards to both 600 and Superbike. The top finishing non-A grade team in Supersport this year was Jono Hughes. You can thank yourself. You should say something.
Yep. Thanks to Motorworks, Reds, Rod Garrett, of course. That was really hard. Well, no, shit, it was. It was. No, don't mean to bring everybody down, but I almost didn't make it here today. I got a phone call at 5 o'clock this morning saying my mum had died. So, yeah, that was shit. So, but I made it here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I've still got here and yeah, did it. Cool. No worries.
Okay, to our Supersport. Third place, Matthew Long, Marcus Delaney.
Well, first off, I'd just like to congratulate Jesse and Chip on winning the 600. Really good job, guys. Ironman effort from Jono, that's absolutely unbelievable, really good job. Congratulations to Jezza and Mike for winning the 1,000 class and all the other podium finishes. I'd like to thank Marcus for teaming up with me. Like, mate, you rode awesome, couldn't be prouder. Thanks to Dad, Buggy and Karen and Wilson. And thanks to Michelin for sponsoring the event, and thanks to Reds Motorcycles and Racondi. And yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Marcus? In second place, to repeat what Matthew just said, what an Ironman effort, Jono Hughes.
Yep, it was a pretty good effort, I guess. I wasn't really expecting it, but would I do it again? No.
And in first place, Jesse Woods, Hamish Sellers.
Well done, Jesse. Go first.
Wow, what a race. My first 2 hour, massive thanks to Bob Sellers at AKR Engineering, and of course Chip and Harry as well for really making me a full part of the family this year. Big thanks also to my dad for all his help in the pits. Big thanks to Leah, all of the officials, everyone for making this event as smooth as it was. Just, wow, what a race. I can't believe Jono was all over me after doing an Ironman stint as well. I just couldn't let him past, only doing the solo. I was absolutely terrified he was going to come back and really show me how it was done. Massive thanks to Chip though. Huge ride this first stint.
Yeah, so 6 years ago I came third with my brother in the Supersport class, and then 2 years later I came second with Ted Collins over there, and then 3 years later came first with this guy. So I can't complain. Massive thanks to Dad for just being an absolute legend and giving us bikes to ride. Massive thanks to Red for making the bikes awesome to ride, and Josh Reeves from Walk the Line Tattoo for just supporting me through everything. And yeah, all the competitors, you're just legends. This was sick. Can't complain. Cheers, guys.
Good on you, mate. Yep. I'll let some. Okay, moving on to Superbike. Firstly, the highest placed non-A grade team went to Brad Hughes.
Is he up yet?
Hope so.
Here he comes. Awesome, mate.
Very much shocked to get this, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm really lost for words. I got a third once before and a second, and there's no way that I deserve to actually get this today because I just didn't perform. But I'd just like to thank the wife and family, the club, everyone that travelled down here. Congratulations to the top winning teams. Yeah, I'm just blown away. Awesome.
Okay, Superbike positions outright. Third place, Jason Spencer, Ted Collins.
Sorry, Ted, you don't get it. Well done, guys.
That was a really good event. Big thanks to Ted, John, Carolyn, Taylor for coming down, sharing this event with us. It's been really good. Greg, Tolly, Tamika, Aria and Amelia for coming down today to support us. It's been a lot of time invested. And Greg for coming down, of course. Been a lot of time. Greg and I spent a lot of time on these few bikes getting them ready for this event. We've never raced 1,000 in a 2 hour. Had no data at all. Didn't know how it was going to go, tyres, blah, 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 blah. But so I'm really pleased to have got a position with the competition that we have. That's, have Mike, Ted, Jed come down and be almost in the lead lap. I'm quite proud. That's good. Thanks.
I just want to say a massive thank you to Jason and Greg, Motorcycle City, for letting me come down, ride their bikes. They put together a very, very professional team. What they do at a club level here is really good. So big thanks to them for letting me come down, ride their bikes. They worked well with me all weekend so we could do the best that we possibly could. Me and Jason both rode as hard as we possibly could out there. Unfortunately, at the end, we just didn't quite have it to stay on the lead lap, which was a little bit disappointing. But obviously we had some really good competition out there. So it's always heaps of fun to come down here, come down to Tassie. Love coming down here. So hopefully get the opportunity to come back next year. Also thanks to Taylor, Mum and Dad for coming down as well. It's been a really good weekend. So thank you.
Good work. Thanks, guys. In second place, Brett Simmons, Jed Metcher.
Yeah, huge thank you to Chris McGrath, who actually supplied us the bike after we had some issues with Brett's Honda. I think we would have been a good chance for it on Brett's bike. He prepared it really well. He's put a lot of effort in, and it's probably pretty deflating for Brett to put so much effort in and then come to the weekend and have an electrical issue. Big thanks to Chris and everyone who's involved in organising the event. It's an awesome event. I love being down here. It's good fun. Everyone gets around it. Everyone's enjoying it. Who else do I need to thank? Yeah. Mum and Dad and all that. The boys for working on the bike too. Chris's old man, Leo for doing the fuel, old man Simmons. Yeah, Michelin, everyone that's helped organise the event, the flaggies, man, and it's awesome, and I'll definitely be back next year because I'm sick of losing. It's a pain in the ass.
Pretty much exactly what Jed said, but just a massive shout out to Chris McGrath, my good mate. He made us get on track, and I really can't thank him enough. It was very generous of him. Cheers. Oh, and thanks to Michelin and Motorworks for sponsoring the event as well.
Good work, mate. It's so great to see that club spirit alive and well here in Tasmania. We see it so often that people are willing to step up and help out. It's what makes, I think, our racing community down here so good. So thank you. Special thanks to Chris. Winning team for 2022, Motorworks Michelin 2 Hour, Jeremy Huddleston, Mike Jones.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to the club for putting on this awesome event. Just reiterating Jed's words, obviously it's fantastic to come down here and be a part of it. It's so much fun. Obviously there's a lot of pressure going racing in the National Championship, but to come here, it's just really enjoyable, fun weekend to finish off the year. So thanks to the club and everybody that's involved in organising this event. Of course, the flaggies for their efforts as well. So in terms of our team that we had together this weekend, obviously a special thanks to Jezza for getting me down here and organising it all. Todd for letting me thrash his Yamaha R1 around for, I think we managed to clock the record for the most amount of laps in the 2 hours. That was pretty cool. We got Damo and Mark that were in the pits there making sure that everything was under control. So special thanks to them. And ultimately, thanks to our competition, it was a great race. I felt really great on the Yamaha R1, and it was just really nice to ride this circuit and finish the 2 hour in the lead. I've been coming here since 2015, and I think I managed to win with Robbie Bugden back in 2015. But it's been a long time between drinks, so it's really cool to be able to get the win again this weekend. So thanks very much.
So probably repeating a bit of what Mike said, so I'll try and make it a little bit different, but huge thanks to Rod Garrett from Bridgestone. The tyres are amazing, they still look amazing, not too much drop, and he just helped us out for weeks leading up to it as well in the testing and stuff. My wife Fran and my kids are here today, which has been great. She's probably wondered what all the nights in the shed have been, but it's been a lot of prep work. I wasn't just twiddling my thumbs. Todd Tatnell and Tatnell Painters for providing the bike and huge amount of support. So I think everyone should get around the sponsors. Mustard Bikes, Mark de Jong, Damo in the pits, even up last night doing Liam's helmet till 9 o'clock. So it's been a massive team effort, and we're really proud of it. So thank you.
Oh,